Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another week of the Dabang app ASL team battle. We're bringing you guys this team, probably the favorites for this tournament. That's Team Flash taking on their opponents in Team Best.
That's right, and we're here now in the semifinals, so it is going to be double elimination. Both teams will have the chance to redeem themselves if they are defeated today, but only have one more chance. No one wants to go down to that loser's bracket. As you said, Flash's team, the favorites tonight, the favorites to win this entire tournament. There's a lot to talk about in terms of both of these captains as well. You know, Flash and Best, two of the top players on their older teams back in Pro League on KT Rolster and SK Telecom T1, of course, respectively. So they're not matched up against each other per se today, but I do feel that we could lead to that ace match. We could have that matchup that everyone's looking for tonight. It's absolutely possible.
If it does get to Game 5, you can almost guarantee that Flash and Best are coming out. Now, that's not the way that things are worked out as far as which players are facing off during the first 4 games, because I guess Team Best kind of sent out their sacrificial lamb into the jaws of Flash. But to be fair, if you have seen or have heard of Ware before, also known as Miso previously, but if you've seen Ware play before, it's probably in his game versus Stork, where it was still a mismatch. Everybody bet against him, and then he had the sickest cheese against Stork, ran right by his cannons, and was able to take him out. You could see looks of horror on Stork's face. So maybe time to kill another legend tonight.
I think it absolutely is possible, and this is something that if you're a favored player, you have to keep in mind. You have to remember that when you're the favorite, people might cheese you. They might do something unexpected. And StarCraft 1 is a game that basically almost every build in the book has been figured out, but there's so many of them. There's so many builds to choose from, and it's hard to be a macro-oriented player like Flash, for example, and be ready for all of them. But I feel like against a player like Flash, that kind of cheese won't work very well. He's one of the best players at defending early pressure, which is why he leads into that macro style.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of macro styles, if you want to talk about that, Best is the best in the business when it comes to macro Protoss players. So we're going to get a chance to see him showcase his skills against Rain tonight. Former StarCraft 2 legend who's coming back, and it looks better and better every time I see this guy. His mechanics are on point. He's got the builds. He knows exactly how to handle really wacky situations too. So that is going to be a PvP legend. I almost feel like that should be the ace match maybe, but we're getting a chance to see it in the second game.
It's definitely our highlight match of the evening. Let's just remind you guys where we're at right now. I know this is written in crib as a Team Flash against Best. That's tonight's matches. Tomorrow we're going to have our other semifinal, and then the winner's match will then take place the following week, and losers as well, and then we're going to have that grand final afterwards. So we're in the round of 4, as I was saying before. It's double elimination, and that's all there really is to say about this format. But yeah, as you were saying, I think the Rain versus Best matchup tonight is going to be the most exciting one. I also think it's the most important one because Flash and Last are both massively favored in their matches tonight. When you look at the lineup, Last has an incredible TBT. Flash, he has no rival in Brood War currently, is defending champion, etc., right? There's not much else I have to say.
Yeah.
So it's almost absolutely necessary for Best to defeat Rain in that mirror matchup for them to have a chance to advance or at least force that ace.
Well, and another thing that's going to be coming into play tonight is the first time we got a chance to see Team Flash play. Flash was playing in their 2v2, and as you can see right here, he has ceded his seceded his spot in the 2v2 to Last, who's going to be playing this with Rain. So we will not see Flash's Zerg again. Sorry, guys. That is probably a good thing. And really, one of the reasons I really like 2v2 because it allows you to maybe have a strength in your team, even if you don't have very strong individual players.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation where you can have all sorts of snipe builds prepared. In this case, we're going to have Random. Now, Random is not really a race played in StarCraft 1 except in 2v2. The reason why he plays Random is not to keep his opponents guessing as to what race he's going to be. It actually puts him at a disadvantage unless he's able to random Zerg. So it's a risk that Team Best takes here. If they get the double Zerg here, it's going to give them an inherent edge in that 2v2 on Hunters, and that might be, if Best can take that win against Rain, how they force the ace match, where Best might get that chance to knock Flash's team down to the loser's bracket.
Now here are our team analysis graphs. I always like to wish that either A, they would be translated into English, or B, it wouldn't just be like positive things. They would like really highlight, well, this is where this team really excels, and this is where this other team like maybe doesn't excel quite so much. But you can see both teams actually pretty good. Well, that's not what that's not what they say. One of them says excellent with 3 exclamation marks. The other is just great with 2. So maybe if you get down to like the 50s range, you just get no exclamation marks. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the key here is really the results and careers of the players, which is what I think is highlighted in Team Flash's graph here. Flash is the only player that I don't need to tell you guys about going into this first best of 1, because everyone knows this player. When StarCraft 1 was at its peak and when it started to even fizzle out, he was the man who stood on top like everything. He was the one who was known for the game. He was the face of the game. There were many faces of Brood War, but at the end, it was his. And now that Brood War's coming back, he's coming back with it. He's a defending ASL champion, and he has an insane win rate, not only in offline tournaments in the post-Kespa era, but also on Fish, where he plays against pro gamers all the time on stream. This guy is, again, a legend. They call him God for his results. And for this guy, it's going to be an uphill battle. He's 0-2 in total. He's lost one versus Terran. He has no recent wins versus Terran in all 16 recent matches. He's played a lot of those even online. He's 7-16. You can't get much more underdog than this. His results against Stork were impressive.
Yeah.
That was the only thing you could really look at and say, okay, this player had a big moment in this new era. And he is going to have to, I'd say, pull off a cheese again or somehow level up his play massively to take out Flash here. He is, he's got a mountain to climb here, Rapid.
That is true. Climbing Mount Flash. Many have perished, Wolf, but we'll see if Ware has all of his Sherpas in line. He's got all of his like pack mules, and he's like holding on. I don't know if you ever saw, what was it, the day after, the day before, 3 days before tomorrow, or whatever the name of the movie was. But Ware, if he was starring in that movie, would have just as much of a daunting task, but he wouldn't have the plot armor that everybody in that movie had. Because he's going up against Flash, who, like myself, likes to keep the lowercase letter in the middle of their name right there. So, big fan of that. And also, of course, the reigning ASL champion going up against Ware here in our first match of the night, tonight's ASL team battle. Any second now, they'll do a team cheer. I guess we're skipping team cheers today. All right, well, in the, I guess that's gray, white? I guess that's the white Terran player. Okay, well, we're not actually introducing him. Okay, that was Flash. Now we're moving over to his Zerg opponent, Ware, spawning on opposite sides of the 2-player map, Blue Storm. And that's maybe something we should talk about. The map pool for these, the round of 4 has been switched up a little bit, so we'll be starting out on Blue Storm, then going to Outsider, and then Hunters for our 2v2 as usual, but then also,
Fighting Spirit, I believe, is the fourth map.
Then also Fighting Spirit,
and then Circuit Breaker for the fifth map.
Circuit Breaker, yep.
So, yeah, this is a map where Flash's traditional 5-rack style isn't perhaps as
well, he's going to be going for some BBS right now, man.
Yes, he is.
That is going to be a very early barracks, putting it right there on the high ground so that the auto-pathing of a drone is not going to scout that out if he does decide to drone scout. Now, most likely he's just going to be sending that slow overlord all the way across the map, and it might just be too late by the time he sees these barracks.
Yep, this is going to be a little bit frustrating to deal with if unscouted. As you mentioned, he can scout it technically, but he would have to go out of his way to do so. And Flash, although he has done proxy racks in the past, and it's not going to be a full BBS, just a single racks.
All right.
He has been known to do this in the past, but he's more known for taking greedy economic openers.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to definitely...
Oh, drone. This drone builds a hatchery. Things might get a little bit shaky. Oh, there it is.
Well, the first Marine is on its way. Flash is going to send this SCV up here. Going to make it look unassuming at first, and then will likely bunker, depending on how much he wants to commit to this. an extractor before pool as well, so really late spawning pool, which means that we won't have Zerglings out anytime soon. Now, the Overlord will see this, of course, but the cost of that is he's going to simply lose it, which is going to cost him some money here. But now he knows to make his pool. The problem is, even though he sees it, he made the pool as fast as he possibly could. There's no way he can make it any faster, so this is going to be a challenge to hold, no matter which way you look at it here for Ware.
Yeah, and losing his first Overlord is also extremely bad, because not only does that mean that you're going to be, I think, supply blocked at this part. A lot of Zergs will do that extractor trick, maybe sometimes if you really just want to get out as many units as possible. Oh, no. Oh, my God. If he can micro this Overlord all the way around, he might not even lose it.
He's not going to lose it, it looks like.
What? He should have just, like, left one Marine on the high ground.
Okay, just barely gets vision there. All right, so he's got 3 Marines here now. Not only does he lose the Overlord and 100 minerals worth of supply he has to remake, he's also lost a Larva. That's one other thing. Now, several SCVs are being pulled here. This is just one barracks, but it just goes to show how early Terran aggression can be tough to deal with when you go for greedy opening. Hatchery canceled here. Bunker canceled likewise, and he's pushing up the ramp. Now, that first colony is being made here. He's going to try to get Sunkens up as a drone hides to the right side. All right, cancel here. Ooh, this is looking messy. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold this.
Yeah, no, that creep colony should be saved here by these drones moving forward, but as the bunker is almost completed, really you do need to deal with that SCV. Now it's coming over very vulnerable to that drone drill on the opposite side, but looks like the bunker may actually just be completed in the back. Drones drilling actually through all over onto those Marines. Marines are actually very bad in close quarters combat. It looks like all of them will be taken out. Great drone micro here from Ware, taking out the majority of Flash's forces.
He will hold this. He lost a lot of mining time to do so, though, and his Zerglings actually fought the SCVs, so the SCVs did a great amount of tanking. The Marines got a few kills there. Several Marines survive as well, so this is definitely something that Flash can transition out of at this stage. He also got the hatchery cancel, which is important, forced a Sunken to be made, and I'd say when the dust settles here, it's still a pretty good position for Flash. It could have been a lot worse, though, where it could have simply perished had he not been able to hold that bunker off.
Now, the balance of power in TVZ actually does shift back and forth a lot, and the real thing that puts it back in the Zerg's favor is Zergling's speed. So Zerglings, once they do get that fast, you can really just get these perfect surrounds all over these Marines, and you can see that's exactly what Ware is doing, just picking off Marine after Marine from that proxy barracks.
Yep. So Flash just needs to reset here, get back, and hold up a natural.
Oh my God, he's going to get another one. Or 2. Oh
yeah,
my God, that is great control by Ware. He's going to pick off every single Marine.
All of them.
Oh my God.
The SCVs need to get this wall tied up. Any Marines that get made here are basically just going to die for free should he decide to, kind of block that barracks off the wings. He's going to go over to the wall one more time to harass it before the first Marine comes out. In fact, you may just barely be able to get this. So a second depot comes up just for safety. And yeah, it's just a few Lings here doing some great work. The key here, though, is he killed all the Marines, so there's no more pressure that Flash can put on here. He saved the second barracks. He's got a second Marine over here, but look, barely able even to get it over to the wall. Not in the wall, though.
It's a tight wall, by the way, as well. So even though it looks like there's a space there, nothing can actually make it through. And now there is a 1-unit space in between those buildings. I don't think that is tight to Zerglings, though. I think you have to have the barracks and the supply depot at a corner angle.
Well, that's why he's got this SCV right here, right? So it's in terms of building placement, it's not 100% tight, but the SCV will make sure that it is. The hatchery he does scout with 1 Marine is going back up, so it's not going to be some sort of crazy one-base play to really lock Flash in here. He's got his wall set up now, and this barracks is going to come home. Had Flash been able to keep all those Marines alive, then I feel like it would have been in a great spot. As it is now, with Ware surrounding and chasing them, it's a whole different story. As this Marine tries to do some harass here, good positioning in between the minerals.
Yeah, Marines lose 1v1 to basically every unit in the game. They lose to an SCV if it's in melee range and there's Marines unmicroed. So Marines are not good by themselves, like you saw there, just being annoying with it. And while Flash has, I don't want to use the word stabilize, he did inflict a lot of damage onto Ware, forcing him to cancel that early hatchery and really just setting the Zerg behind, not even just in buildings, but also in larva and economy. So sizable deficit, though, for Flash, having lost so many early Marines. That means that this 5-fact push that he's been known so much to do on maps like Fighting Spirit is just not going to be anywhere near as strong.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got his Academy out now. He's got.
Oh, he's actually going to be able to run through. That is so bad.
He just wasn't looking there, and now these Lings are going to be a big problem for these SCVs. They'll eventually take them out. But there's going to be casualties, absolutely. Oh, look at several already. Does get one of the Lings, and we'll finally clean this up. But
wow.
A few SCVs go down. The push is moving across here with one medic, a fire bat here. It's a small Marine push. He has stim. He's going to even stim before combat just to get across the map faster.
Yeah.
He wants to hit this window right before there's enough Hydras here. The Sunken will finish.
But pulling just a few drones here, there's not all that many units here for Ware. He does have some Hydralisks out, and with that fire bat going down, this push will be held.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually morphing lurkers off to the side, maybe trying to like position them in the middle of the map and catch more forces coming out.
Yeah, he's not going to go down that Spire Tech route. It would be so important for Flash to see this. It's so important if he sees this.
Sniffing it out there. I don't believe he actually did see that. He'll see them right now. I think he will. Yeah, there he is. He does see those lurker eggs morphing. However, with only like 3 or 4 Marines up there, he won't be able to kill all 3 of those lurkers when they do finish morphing. Yeah,
there's several Lings here as well to help buffer against this. Look, this
is
he's
going to lose this entire forest.
Yeah, this is a tiny force you can't even really call it an army. Firebat gets a few good shots off there to eliminate some of the Lings here, but now he's going to have to be careful. He's going to need to save scans, as he's not going to be at vessels anytime soon. And this army, like you said, it's dead. Not even an army.
He's just like overstimming his Marines, just desperately trying to get them home. But this is why Zergling speed is so good for Zerg until you have to worry about these fire bats. Now, that's one thing you don't want to do is run all your Zerglings into a fire bat like he just did there. But, I mean, Flash is just in so much trouble.
Well, notice what Flash did there, though. I mean, he's abusing the fact that lurkers are immobile. So he engaged before the lurkers burrowed, killed several Lings, and got away. So he turned this bad situation to go in. He's got a comsat scan available as well here. Will actually kill a lurker and trap these Lings here, almost preventing their retreat. And I mean, he's definitely, he was in a bad situation out there in the middle of the map, but look at this, the lurker's gonna dive here. There's 2 bunkers already set up.
And there's no scan either. So this means that these lurkers are pretty invincible for the time being. More Zerglings running in, but probably better to just hang out here and wait. There's the second scan, and so it looks like with good control he could have saved both of those lurkers, but instead we'll just retreat to that high ground. Flash still stuck on 1 base. Spire coming up here, and it's interesting to see this choice for Ware because he could actually just go ahead and try to take a 3rd, but I think at this point he kind of realizes, hey, one way that I can lose this game is if I just get too greedy and don't have enough units for this upcoming push.
Yeah, he wants to have some more extra threatening power on Flash as well. He wants to kind of choke him out. Every time Flash moves across the map, he'll be able to threaten him and he can catch reinforcements. The mutas, the mobility that mutalists provide, that lurkers can't control with. You know, if they get in a siege up position, they can do a lot for you, but as you can see, Flash can kind of avoid them. As this one's just going to hide over here.
So there's only 1 Marine in that bunker. So I did not expect that lurker to be able to run all the way by there, but he's like, oh, well, this actually just doesn't hurt so much. Sunken Colony's going up all the way back at home. There's no 3rd base, so that means less area for Ware to have to defend against this upcoming push. And with Mutalisks about to come out here, those microed correctly will be able to absolutely destroy this comparatively tiny M&M force out on the map.
Yeah, he does comsat sweep this, sees that there's several Sunkens available, so he doesn't want to actually hard engage into this. There's no reason to, as he knows that Ware is turtling really hard. The science facility come up here, which is a pretty big power spike for what Flash is trying to do, because once he has science vessels out, he can engage wherever he wants. And Flash, again, probably most famous for his Marine splitting in this matchup, especially against lurkers. So, you know, once he has those vessels out, he can fight almost any type of composition. Big stem here, but Medic's going to heal those right up. Sees the Mutalisk coming. He's already got turrets up. He made an eBay way earlier and is just now adding them when necessary. I think he's got 4 up in total.
Almost the best part of that for Ware was being able to just stop Flash from pushing across the map. And that's really what a lot of Zergs try to do, whether it's a siege tank push and you want to force them to siege and unsiege and slow that down so you have time to get enough forces to deal with them. But now he's actually just forcing the majority of Flash's forces all the way even back to his base. Now, these mutas are going to box themselves into a little bit of a corner. You can see Flash moving out with his forces kind of halfway trying to maybe catch the mutas if they do try to retreat. And yeah, this is exactly what he's going to try to do.
Yeah, exactly. You called it right before it happened here. Another big stem will catch a muta. And Flash was ready for that miles away. You can see it on the minimap as he's moving forward now here around the side. Now, Flash doesn't know if there's another hidden base around the map, but he can assume not, I'd say, at this point, considering the super defensive sunken positioning and the Mutalisk commitment and resources. Just hard to have all these things and a base.
Now, it should also be noted that Flash is still on one base. Now, in Brood War, you can actually stay on a comparatively fewer number of bases. In StarCraft 2, especially recently, mineral counts are much lower, so it forces you to expand across the map very quickly. Not so in Brood War. You can stay on one base, and usually it's two bases, but Flash, being prevented from picking up that second base, is still able to get this tech up, but he is just so far behind.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he will eventually run out of money, despite the fact that, as you said, you can stay on the solid time. Wow, he committed to Irradiate here.
That was a decent split from where?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Mutas do not heal extremely quickly like they do in StarCraft 2, so they are going to stay hurt for a while. But with Scourge coming out here ready for Science Vessels, Ware really just does have all of his bases covered.
Yeah, that's also part of the reason why he's committed to this Spire here before taking a third base. And you know, Flash is eventually going to have to take another expansion. He's got a little bit of time left on this. Ooh, definitely not want to be sending your mutas like that.
He only has like 3 Mutalisks left in that control group, so I'm not sure if... okay, so he stopped rallying his mutas because he actually lost like 1 or 2 to Flash's army staying in the middle trying to snipe them out. And he's going to lose another at least 1 or 2 mutas here because he's flying through so many missile turrets. Oh my god.
Also has Scourge with them, which aren't going to find any vessels here. And it ends up losing quite a bit of hit points there on those Mutalisks. Flash's army is continuing to move across the map and pressure. He's got kind of half at a home, half looking for another base. And he's continuing to verify, okay, Ware still doesn't have a base. My CC is almost up, so I'm finally going to have that second expansion. I'm going to have that 2-base economy, at least for a little while, until his main base mines out. He's still got a strong army on the map, and he's keeping these bunkers alive for zoning purposes as well.
Now, really interesting to see here. +1/+1 done for Flash's bio, but actually a +1 Mutalisk attack upgrade done. Now, usually you want to get +1 defense for your mutas, just because of the way that Muta Micro works. I mean, it's great if your glaives bounce a little bit better, but usually the defense is what helps out your mutas a little bit more. It allows them to continue doing that micro over and over again, but I don't know, still haven't seen Flash have any of his Science Vessels sniped, and it looks like finally gearing up to take his natural expansion, while in the meantime, keep in mind that Ware hasn't expanded either.
It looks like he's seeing that drone up to the 12 o'clock right now to do so. Ooh, irradiation here again. These mutas needs to split him a little bit faster. Oh no, horrible splits. Almost looked like he was trying to lose him on purpose there. 3 irradiates, and that is going to be the end of this Mutaflux. See you later.
That is why you have to deal with these Science Vessels. That's why he was trying to suicide in there to catch them out with Scourge. Flash doing such a great job allowing those Science Vessels to build up all that energy, and now for all intents and purposes, this Mutalisk threat from Ware has been neutralized.
Yeah, Flash has 1/1 upgrades for these Marines. He's got this base, he's got the expensive vessels, he kept them alive, and now he is looking to be a little bit more aggressive because he knows he's dealt with that flock. He's got turrets up here as well. He's basically secured this base as Lings are getting killed for free. Oh man, another Scourge goes down. Feels like Ware is struggling to adapt here in this mid-game.
And Flash knows exactly where to go, right to the third base location. One of the key features of this map, Blue Storm, is that early on there's that one tiny choke point into your natural. Now, wisely enough, you can see those lurker eggs morphing there. That will block that tiny choke point, so the natural base for Ware is safe, but it's all about this third.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, this funny thing you can do is you want it to finish.
That was killed, not canceled, by the way,
exactly.
as well.
You want it to finish so that you can kill it so he can't cancel it. So he was like waiting and playing chicken with him, and then he just didn't cancel it in general. So I think Flash's mechanics are ruling out here. Now this is a good amount of Scourges. Hit their numbers there and does get 2 vessels, but overall Flash has just been out macroing this guy, or out mechanicking this guy here. You will see these lurkers right away. He's on top of it. Needs a Comsat though. Where's the Comsat?
He's actually just going to lose like a sizable amount of Zerg, or amount of M&M there. Now, Flash will be able to pick those out little by little with that Science Vessel, but here come more Scourge. Okay, those won't get anything done.
He has a vessel over here. He didn't have it with his army initially there. I thought he was looking, but perhaps not. We'll just use Irradiate to help push this away and wipe these off. Going to catch them as well. Good flank here from his main army. And there's one more Irradiate. The last lurker going to die to the tank. And he's got this army now regrouped and ready to push out. The base is secured. And still no third base for Ware, so 2 base versus 2 base. You know, you could play it like that for a while, or if you've got a big lead, you could certainly make it happen. But right now, this looks like Flash is going to start to go over and try to break his back. There's no more harass left. Going to try to get these. Oh, man! Oh, commits to the Scourges there, doesn't get a single Vessel, loses all of them.
Just the absolute sickest control from Flash. His Vessels have, for the most part, stayed alive. He did lose a couple of them earlier on, so not perfect control, but just being able to see him control against all that many Scourge, that is impossible to do for mere mortals. Trust me, I've lost so many Science Vessels because Scourge cloning, which is just splitting the Scourge amongst all the Vessels. Also difficult, but done very well by Ware. Just was not able to quite get them in there. Now, catching this M&M force out on the map there, these Zerglings are not quite as well upgraded as this M&M, so pulling the bio back, or pushing the bio forward, pushing Ware back, and he will take out most of this Zerg force in the middle of the map.
Now, he's got his second army coming over here to flank. Didn't even really need it. GG, that's it. Flash will take the first win here, and, you know, Flash's control won him this game, I feel, overall. His dodging of the Scourges, also his ability to wipe Zerglings, back off when the Lurkers siege, and then, you know, take engagements elsewhere. He was never really losing bio to Lurkers at any moment in time. And, you know, the build that he chose, did it kill Ware? No. Did it cripple him? A little bit, but I feel like Ware got himself right back into the game with a snipe on the Marines, not allowing them to come home. But Flash just, he macroed like a god. He had a large army nonstop, and nothing that Ware did could hurt him. And in terms of his commitments to trying to hunt down the Vessels, he was totally unsuccessful, like marching to the main base. I don't know where Flash had those Vessels hidden, but he couldn't find them.
Yeah, it's just like, well, how many bases does Flash need to win a game? Well, apparently one is the answer. So the answer to beating Flash is keep him from getting one base up. I'm like, sorry, man, you start with one base. He's already got it going. Really impressive win there by Flash. Just using that map Blue Storm, and it's the difficulty that it is to just run all the way deep down and kill your opponent. Survives long enough to be able to come back and take the win. So it's just such a treat to be able to watch Flash, one of the greatest Brood War pro gamers, back in action. And up next, we get a chance to watch Rain take on Best in our second game of the night. So stick around.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
냄새가 당면 된장찌개 저런 냄새가
하면 뭐다? 너 냄새 난다고 베브리지 맨으로 남자 5대 냄새 파괴 에브리즈 맷.
마음이 가는 대로 즐겁고 신나게 쓰자. 캠퍼스 시리즈.
여기가 어디게요? 뒤에 보시다시피 아프리카 TV 대치동 프리거 스튜디오입니다. 저희 보너스 베이비가 여기 왜 왔을까요?
네, 여기서 3주에 한 번씩 팬분들과 데이트를 지낼 예정인데요. 1년 동안 열심히 할 테니까 텅텅 비어있는 이곳을 여러분들께서 꽉꽉 채워주세요. 3월 8일 8시 수요일에 우리 만나요.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. ASL Team Battle coming at you, and it's really exciting to see such a packed-out crowd coming out just for tonight's games. Team Flash versus Team Best, and now we're going to get a chance to interview Flash and see what his thoughts were about game number one. So your first counterattack was pretty successful. What were your thoughts at the beginning of that game? So he thought that he was almost going to lose the game when he lost his Marines early, but he wound up winning in the end. He said he feels kind of sorry for his teammates because I didn't really pull out that great of a game. But he feels very relieved that he did in fact win game number one. Because when I saw his lurker eggs, I thought to myself, well, if my opponent's using lurkers, so I thought I knew my opponent was not really great at using those units, so I thought, okay, well, I might win the game now. So what was your thought about the lurker attacking your natural expansion? It says, yeah, I was really disadvantaged in that situation, but I had a solid mindset. I thought that he might actually go for mutas after the lurkers, so I was able to prepare for that. So how do you expect the next game to go? How do you think Rain is going to do? Well, it seems like he's in great condition right now, and that his hand and finger movements are really good right now. So I think he's going to have a great game. 팀원들이 이제 저 말고 다른 팀원들 중에 MVP 나왔으면 바라면서. So the last time I won MVP for my team. 그럼 옆에 끝으로 이제 김성현 선수가 계속 바라보고 있어서. So, but this time I think maybe my teammates will win MVP this time around. 워낙에 잘하니까. So do you have any words to last before his game? 아니 김성현 선수가 무슨? Says if you don't get nervous. He says Last usually gets really nervous when he plays in casted matches, so if he doesn't get nervous, he'll be able to do well. All right, so congratulations to your win, Flash, and that is going to send us into our next 1v1 here in the ASL team battle. It's going to be a battle between Last and Rain. So, well, not Last and Rain, Best and Best.
Yeah, Rain and Best are going up against each other in this second one. The Protoss versus Protoss, man, and this is going to be the highlight match of the evening, assuming that we don't have that ace match. Now, Flash already did his job, got the win over Ware, and then going to the second one, this is going to be the closest match of the night. If Rain is able to take this, then it may just be a sweep or a 3-1 victory, considering that Light defeating Last would be a massive upset in the 4th matchup. Now, these two guys are former teammates. Rain used to play under the ID Sun, funny as that is, in Brood War when he was on SKT. And he and his former teammate Best, who he's playing against now, never really had big individual results. Never were champions, but were Pro League players. Now going into this one, Rain's opponent here in Best was used often as a Protoss versus Protoss sniper on SKT. He played for SKT for 7 years and was one of the better Pro League players, played in several ace matches, including finals. And this guy's Protoss versus Protoss is really good. This is going to be probably a longer, drawn-out macro game. This is going to be a game that might be decided by, flanks, positioning, Psy Storms, shuttle micro for Reavers. And, this guy, Best, he's the favorite, I think, in terms of the fans and the crowd. He's played Brood War for longer. Rain took a break to play StarCraft 2 for a long time. Actually had surgery to remove half his liver to donate to his father, to make sure he would, be healthy. So he's been through a lot. Both of these have their former teammates. There's a lot of story here, but Best needs this win. Without this win, I really feel Team Best might be eliminated 3-1 at best. No pun intended here. This is their most important match.
Yeah, well, last time Team Best played, Best didn't even get a chance to come out. So now we'll get a chance to see him showcase his talent versus Rain as we get into our second game tonight in this ASL team battle. Here we go. Spawning on the map, Outsider. It is a 3-player map. Our blue Protoss player. This is Rain. His opponent in the teal, up at the 1 o'clock position. This is Best. Team captain.
Team captain indeed. And I'm going to be spawning top and left side here on Outsider. This is going to be exciting because in Protoss vs. Protoss, as we talked about with the match of Tyson and Brittany last week, so many different builds that line up against each other, and it becomes this matchup of, it's not like rock, paper, scissors as much in this game as it is in, say, StarCraft 2. There are certain builds that can just straight up net you a win versus others, but almost every build has a response to every other type of build, and how well you micro or, how much you commit to your aggression, for example, can get you a lead or cause you to lose the game.
Yeah, and so the last game that we saw on this map, Outsider, which is, like I said, my favorite map, was a TVT between Mind and Sock, and we got to see exactly how important it is to have a strong air army. The way that Outsider works is there's like 3 rings. There's the ring that includes your starting base, and then your natural expansion. You can take a safe natural expansion that's mineral only in the back of your base. You can glitch a probe through or worker through and get a gas expansion that's pretty safe early on, or you can take a low ground natural, which a lot of players take as their third base if it's going to be very, very aggressive. Now, PvPs, a lot of times you'll see Reaver play, and that usually involves shuttles. But this time around, we could see maybe a little bit more of an effort of an emphasis on getting that air control, which means my favorite unit, the Scout, could come out. Probably not.
You probably just like every Brood War fan who's ever anything like is probably just like silently like pressing the mute button and just being like, I don't know, yeah, I mean the Scout, it would be cool to see in this matchup, but I doubt we'll see it. Hey, I mean, I guess anything's possible. This map is pretty crazy.
Okay, now this is pretty sick. This is a Manor Pylon, which is somewhat, oddly named because it's really bad manner to do. But the idea is that you put it there, and not only does it trap, I think it's trapping 2 probes behind it, but it also means you can't mine from, I think, those 2 back mineral patches. So really, really good investment there. You guys might think, oh, it costs 100 minerals. Is that really worth it? Well, yes, it really is, because it does
8 minerals
stop
a trip, yeah.
Yeah, because workers mine more in Brood War than they do in StarCraft 2. So stopping even just a couple trips, really starting to get annoying to deal with.
It can also be used for bugging out the AI and things like that. If you're doing a rush, it makes it really difficult to micro. So it's tough to pull off as well because you have to actually place the pylon during a moment where there's no obstructing workers. So you have to time it really well. You kind of spam it most of the time. But he gets it down here, and it's not going to be the end of the world or anything, but it's a nice little trick, neat little trick you can do.
All right, so there is the first real, I guess, build choice that will define this game, and it's going to be Rain going. Oh my God, he got another
one, yeah.
Manor pylon down. That's insane. It's actually trapping 2 probes, both of which have minerals right now, and does get the cancel off there, so he'll get some money back, and it's just really, really annoying to see how good probes can be.
It's very similar to blocking, a hatchery with a probe or something like that in PvZ and StarCraft 2. It's just one of those things where if you get it off, it's very frustrating. It's very annoying to deal with. Now, the tech has been planted here for Best. He's going to go into a Robo build. We had Singularity Charge, the Dragoon range, researching earlier, and he appears to have canceled it.
Yeah,
so
it shouldn't have completed that quickly. He also has no Dragoons, so...
Exactly, so I think he's going to try to take a fast Nexus here.
Now, this is a little bit weird. He's going to go double Nexus. So, Rain right now has no army. He actually just has, like, I think maybe 1 Zealot out. So this is really, really strange, but he's going to be going for, both of these mineral-only expansions, whereas you can see, oh, here we go. Can he get it? Yes! This is what I was talking about. So this is the first time we're going to see this in the ASL team battle. And this guy's going to get probably, okay, so he's not going to go for double gas, but he might try to glitch it through again and scout things out. Yeah, he's going to try to glitch through here and get a surprise scout inside the base.
Okay, he pushes it through, and now he's going to come over here. And
well, not a scout inside the base, but just try to get back through and see what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. So,
no, he is. Okay, sorry, I was like way thrown off. Here comes the second glitch through the mineral line.
Yep, he's just trying to get through here and see
there
if his opponent's doing the same thing. There's a Dragoon already in place to stop for this, but he sees no base taken here and actually tries to juke his way into the main base, will be unsuccessful, so he has no idea what is coming his way. It's going to be just a fast observer here with a faster Robo coming out. So obviously Rain is going to have an eco lead with this faster mineral base, but the army is better for Best, and he'll have an observer to scout this out. They can try to punish it. Not going to be easy, though. This base is very secure in the back.
Now, I think I do need to rescind my earlier statement. It looks like the base at the upper, I guess what is that, 10 o'clock expansion was actually canceled, so it's still only 1 natural expansion. I was actually kind of questioning whether or not he was going to go for that base way, way, way up at the top, because that is actually much closer to Best, so you generally want to expand away from your opponent. However, now this is the first move coming out of the map as Best pushes out. Best pushes out.
Yep.
Best pushes out. I don't think that's quite what I meant to say.
No, definitely not, but it's fine. We all make...
Everybody gets one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all say strange things sometimes, but the probe up to the top as well is probably checking for shuttles, as this Dragoon is going to see this army, this ground army here.
Oh no, he's going to catch the shuttle. Can the shuttle actually move in there?
He's going to elevator in.
Okay, well, Best pulled back.
So now he's got these Dragoons behind the mineral line, which just straight up denies mining. There's nothing he can do about it right now without bringing his own units over. Maybe perhaps expecting a shuttle to the top with that probe placement there, but not going to be the case. So this early base, he did mine quite a bit of it already, but he's lost mining of it now. And Best will have the first Reaver out as well. So he's going to have, again, a tough army. He's denied this base from mining, and didn't really cost him that much to do so. Going to force a new Nexus. In fact, he's just going to give this up entirely, and that base will go down. So he's having to remake an entire Nexus here. And this is a big win for Best, who can now just take his own base for free if he can hold with this Reaver.
Well, Rain is recognizing that Best did lose a Dragoon earlier, and he's sacrificed 3 Dragoons who are pretty useless right now because they're sitting down there at where Rain's natural was. So that means that the gateway forces here for Rain are pretty strong, but I mean Reavers they're also pretty good at dealing with forces coming to try to attack.
It's all about the shuttle micro here, If he micros it as well as he is basically humanly possible, then Rain just can't break this base, and he's not even going to try it because he's afraid of what the results may be. He did get a Nexus first. He was only just slightly behind in Reaver production, so the game is going to slowly normalize from here as they both take a base now with gas and minerals.
All right, so the game settling down here, at least for a few seconds, but it looks like Rain does want to keep this pressure on. Now, this is a little bit weird to see because he doesn't have a Reaver, and attacking into a Reaver might be a little bit rough to do. He does snipe an Observer, though, so that will mean that, Bless is going to be a little bit in the dark for now.
Yeah. Also, he absorbed that Scarab shot with a Zealot, so didn't end up doing too much too much damage to his army. Knows his position as well. You want to have a split arc like this when you approach. Just the Reaver is here, going to fight, and we're going to see shuttles. Ooh.
Here comes the Reaver micro.
Yeah, this is just going to keep happening until someone makes a mistake like this. Yeah, he's actually going to use this positional advantage right now to try to burst through. He's got 2 Zealots up here at the front to tank as well, and he's going to hit the Reaver with a Reaver shot here. Late pickup by
Best. He gets the Reaver. That means the Best is actually in a lot of trouble here. He has less on the ground. Another Reaver coming out, so Defender's advantage is alive and well. He needs to protect that Reaver and make sure he gets off some money shots.
Oh man, the micro here way better for Rain, and he is going to get such a positive trade here. This might actually just be game-ending damage.
When he can't keep the Reaver on the ground long enough for it to shoot, there it is finally coming down. He will get that last-second Scarab, but great micro on both sides. Rain just so on point.
That was a really close call there. Had he killed the Reaver and kept a few more Dragoons alive there, he probably would have just killed the base and taken an insurmountable lead. The micro there was much better. The second that he had that Zealot run-in where Best formation really fell apart, that's when he decided to kind of dive the base, if you will. And now he's going to set up, new attack. He's got shuttle speed.
Oh no, catching the probes, transferring.
Oh,
huge
7.
Scarab hits, and he's going to go for even more. On the other side, massive shots coming out at the natural expansion there. Best might even lose his Reaver.
He will.
High ground, mischance. It's a thing, and it saves the Reaver for just long enough for it to finally make it up the ramp. It does finally go down. Scarabs coming up. Those do not suffer from mischance. It's going to pop a couple of very, very valuable Dragoons.
Okay, well, this is the last chance here for Best. He's on the last ropes.
No.
Oh, man, look at that.
Huge probe genocide. Scarabs everywhere. And Rain is just sustaining massive damage.
Yeah, there's just no turning back from here, I'd say. Best is going to do, he's just going to have to try what he can with what he has left here. He sent the shuttle back home. He has 2 Reavers here, but he's just lost everything else, so it doesn't really matter.
and great shuttle control here. Rain just looking better and better every time I watch this guy play. There's GG. Best out of here. Rain takes game number 2 for Team Flash.
Really good control there. There was a scary moment where, he was losing probes in his main base, but he'd already done so much damage. He had the larger army. And then he got his own probe kills on the other side.
Yeah.
And he had control there of the ramp. To kill the 2 Dragoons on top of the ramp, I was like, well, that's basically it. I mean, he's just going to camp these gateways. And this is huge now because with Best being taken out here, not even either. Both, they're going to have to win both the TBT and Light. Light will have to win the TBT against Last, and they will have to win the 2v2. 2v2, TBT, both hard to say. But yeah, they're going to have to do both now. The 2v2 feels reasonable, right? They absolutely can do it, especially if Light randoms Zerg. But the Terran versus Terran, that's what I'm worried about here for Team Best. And just a few control mistakes there, and Rain just fast like lightning, capitalizing on those moments to break the defense there.
That's true. How does that go? Where there's thunder, there's lightning. Well, there's also rain. And we'll get a chance to see him play with Last against Light and Wear when we come back with our 2 versus 2 in tonight's ASL team battle.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
김대리, 커피. 예. 어이, 야, 어깨 좀 졸라봐.
지키건 지키자.
겨울 가장 지키고 싶은 RPG 수호 삼국지
요즘 디지털 하도 그러니까 더 이상 새로울 게 없잖아요. 근데 이거는 좀 달라요. 알고리즘. 이거 참 재밌대.
디지털 현대카드.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
다방 앱 사용자분들 안녕하세요. 새로운 광고로 인사드리는 혜리입니다. 반갑습니다.
광고의 컨셉은 무엇인가요?
네, 잠시만요. 걸크러스 혜리가 되어서 나쁜 정보가 방을 구한다는 나쁜 정보를 혼내주기 위한 걸크러스 혜리로 변신을 해봤습니다. 맞죠? 아니에요? 망했다. 파격적인 변신이라고 할 수 있을 만큼 뭔가 새로운 컨셉을 계속 시도한다는 것 자체가 저에게 굉장히 재밌는 일이고 저에게도 도전인 것 같아요. 다방에게도 혜리에게도. 여기 또 다른 분들이네. 엄마, 아빠, 혜리만 모두야.
미안해, 저 하나 가슴이 아프네. 난 따뜻하게 입었는데.
다 벗으세요. 하나씩 벗길 거예요.
하나씩 베끼자고. 잘못 한 사람 하나씩 옷 벗는 거야, 오늘. 미안합니다, 혜리씨.
아니에요.
해서.
괜찮아요.
완전 멋져요, 근데.
애완견인 호두가 있기 때문에 네. 반려견을 같이 살 수 있는 그런 필터 기능이 있어요. 유용하게 쓰인 것 같고요. 다방에서 다방면 정보 시스템을 새로 만들었다고 해요. 여러 가지 방의 정보를 점수로 계산해서 여러분들에게 알려드리는 기능인데요. 제 방도 몇 점일지 궁금하네요. 높은 점수였으면 좋겠습니다. 네, 2017년이 됐는데요. 여러분들도 2017년에 좋은 일 항상 가득하셨으면 좋겠고 항상 건강하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 다방도 혜리도 많이 사랑해주세요. 감사합니다. 지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's ASL Team Battle. We are coming back after a 2-0 start for Team Flash to find out if Team Best can bring it back in our 2v2 match on Hunters.
They will have to win the 2v2 and the Terran versus Terran in order to bring us to that ace match, that Flash versus Best everyone is hoping for. Now, of course, for Team Flash, it's going to be Last and Rain together. Last will be off racing as Zerg, but Rain will main race Protoss here. So not going to attempt the double Zerg. But, you know, rumor has it, people have been saying Last plays a mean Zerg. So he's going to be the key player of the two, despite the fact that he's off racing. 2v2 is a totally different beast. We've seen spawn locations really change games as well on this map.
And that's the one thing that you can't really predict is where you're going to spawn on Hunters. The bases and the spawn locations really do change a lot about the matchup, whether or not you're in a safe base location. If somebody gets like the 2 o'clock base, well, it's not going to mine as efficiently as the other ones. If you spawn really close to your opponent, then you have a lot in store for you early on. If your opponents get double Zerg and they both spawn on either side of you, well, you know, the universe was just, you know, against you that day.
Yeah, and that could happen. That's why it's so unfortunate that Best wasn't able to take that second game, because now perhaps he and his teammate, maybe Light doesn't get Zerg, and you know it's Miso playing Zerg, Light's playing Protoss, and
that would not be good.
And then suddenly you have bad spawn locations too, and you're like, ooh. And we lost the team because, or we lost this team battle because of that.
Now,
so,
this is Team Best's representatives here, Ware and Light. I almost think that they would be maybe a little bit better off going with, or putting Best in there, because, I mean, his Protoss is super good. He also might get a little bit of revenge on Rain for that game number 2. But the big thing that we're hoping for here is Light randoming Zerg, because even though he's a Terran player, he, you know, Zerg is still just such a good, strong early game race in 2v2.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost 50-50 in that regard. If you get the Zerg, you're feeling great. If you get the Protoss, you feel real bad. And if you get the Terran, you're like, we can do this. You know, it's absolutely winnable with T and Z together. Maybe they do some wall-off shenanigans like we saw last week as well. We could see something like that, depending on the spawning locations once more. So up to Ware here to kind of carry the team either way with his Zerg. As Best looks on a bit worriedly, he gives a giggle when he sees himself on camera, but he knows this is dire straits right now for his team.
That is true. He knows that this is his last, could be the last game that his team gets to play. Now, it's a double elimination, so neither team will be totally eliminated, but, you know, going down to that lower bracket is certainly not what you want to have happen. So, if you guys have never watched a competitive Brood War 2 versus 2, then you are in for a treat. This is very competitive, even though it might not seem that way. 2v2 has always been a part of Brood War major leagues for a long, long time. So
yeah.
Lots of exciting action about to happen here. Last and Rain versus Light and Ware coming up here in just a second. Zerg Protoss versus Random and Zerg. We'll see if Light does get that double Zerg that they do want and can keep Team Best's hopes alive. So we get into our 2 versus 2 on Hunters. I don't think we're doing team cheers. I believe that intro music is actually a Within Temptation song. Big fan. All right, as our observer, Terran Command Center lifts off, I'll do my best to try to find out exactly where these players are going to go. It's always a little bit confusing finding out who is where. So I think the observers
well,
are
where
trying to...
in this case is...
Okay, thank you. You're so smart, Wolf. I'm so happy I can be here to be solo casting next week. Actually, would never want to do that. All right, so the red Terran player, I believe, is deliberately Terran because I think we have...
I'm just waiting for the graphic. I'm not even going to try this one.
There's okay, no it's Zerg Protoss versus Zerg Terran. So Light did actually random Terran his main race. So the Protoss player we at least know is going to be Rain, and then there are those 2 Zerg players, Ware and Last. Okay, all right. I think we understand. Now they'll put up the overlay with the players here in just a second. so that we can find out exactly which Zerg is which, because that actually does matter
Where is
a lot.
bottom left?
Okay, so this is actually much better for Team Flash, because their teammates, their bases are right next to each other. It's actually a little bit unfortunate for the red
team, yeah.
for the red Terran player Light. He's going to be scouted first as well, so he is going to have a lot coming his way. He's also spawning right next to the opposing Zerg player, so his map, or his base rather, is first on the menu.
Definitely true, as this is going to get a little bit rough for Ware specifically. He could be kind of cornered and killed here. At least, you know, we do see Light gets Terran, so Light has at least his main race to play with here. He didn't roll into the Protoss, but unfortunately the random gamble did not pay off. That's what they were looking for.
Also kind of strange to see Rain scout the across the entire map. Usually you want to scout the bases next to you. He already knows, based on having seen that Overlord scout Light, you know exactly where his positioning is, but it appears as if Ware will be kind of incognito for now. And here he goes. Actually, just okay. So. Well, this is insane. Okay, you almost never see a Zerg player tech immediately to lair. Zerg's strength comes from just rushing straight to a billion Zerglings and then overwhelming your opponent in the early game. But because of his spawn location, I think Ware is saying, okay, well, I'm safe enough for now, and he's already teching to lair.
Yeah, he's far away from his teammate, I mean, incredibly, but you know, he has the ability to, or he has this long rush distance that's going to help keep him safe. Now, this is a good SimCity here set up right now by Light here, but unfortunately, you know, there's a little bit of a gap there, so the SCVs will have to be micro, but he doesn't really find much here. So he's going to turtle up, he's going to add a Sunken, go straight into this lair, probably going to be Mutalist, I imagine, to just go straight across and harass Rain. And he's going to have a, you know, basically what he's trying to do with his teammate is to have Light just kind of tank this, because he's the one who's furthest away and is actually the one under attack here, but he's got a nice SimCity up, so he's just going to try to tank this. And then he's going to have the fast tech to harass and get ahead. And, you know, there's already a Forge up, so I imagine we're going to see cannons soon.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is what's going to be really important, is to see how well, excuse me, is to see how well Light can hang on. Because Light is about to get 2v1'd in the most abominable way. He's setting up like double, maybe even triple bunkers to come out here, and all he needs to do is survive as long as possible, because as soon as Ware comes out with his Mutatech, Zealot's useless.
He's going to cannon push this. He's going to cannon push this as well. He's got a pylon here. He's going to make a photon cannon right now and try to just knock this down. Look at this, 2 photon cannons. So he's going to...
It's Probius, man.
It's Probius, man. He's in the game. All right, the bunker finishes, which is huge. He needs to get these SCVs over here. He needs to get Marines inside. They have to take the long way around, but he will get some of those Marines in. The repair is off here. These cans are not going to finish. He's going to have to cancel them. And you know what? That Spire is nearly done. This pylon's in range right now, and this looks to have failed here.
This is insane. If Light can hang on here for just a few moments longer, Mutas are in production right now for his ally Ware across the map. They're going to take a long time, but this is the all-in last-ditch effort to take this bunker down. It is burning, but the SCV is repairing. 2 SCVs now. He's pulling the boys. All you got to do is save this bunker. Cannon is up, but maybe not for long. SCV's off the line, and it looks like Light will hold.
He will. The second bunker is going to finish here as well. He gets the Marines inside of it, and that is going to be all she wrote for this push. And Mutas are going to come over there now. He's got photon cannons up at home. Those are the Mutas you were talking about. He's got photon cannons at home, but he's going to be cut off here. He's got no units left. He spent a ton of money on this, and you can see him laughing on the camera shot because he knows this is not what he had planned. That was just a solid hold at a Light. Really impressive.
And you can really see the 2v2 like team aspect, just coordinate things and say, okay, well, Ware, based on not just the race that you got or the players that you're playing with on your team, but your positioning on the map. You're in a safer location. You can afford to just go for a Sunken and then tech as Zerg. That's almost unheard of because Zerg is almost unanimously picked just to go for early game Zergling pressure. He teched a Mutalist, and now he's going to go around the map killing these Overlords, Zealots, and Zerglings. Totally useless at this point against the Mutas in the air.
Yeah, so we're going to go into a longer, crazier one here, I have to say, and going to be able to hide a base down here. He's going to be able to deny scouts, get full map information with this. A Scourge being made right now for last. No, he doesn't know about those Scourge just yet, so that actually could, if they connect, be really good for him. And he finds him with the Zealot. Yeah. He's going to go for it here.
We'll see if he can split against them. There's there's this really cool move that we might see there between the Mutas and the Scourge. Based on the way that units like path, you can actually kill Scourge if you have perfect Muta micro. I think it's called a Chinese triangle, where you you move your units in a triangle with patrol micro, and it will actually allow them to attack the Scourge and take them down.
Yeah, it's because the way the Muto's attack animation works. You kind of move it at that angle, and then you move away and then up again. Or, down, whichever the way the triangle is. It's kind of like this.
Oh my god, sickest micro. Those Scourge
He's
just
actually
do not
just,
stand a chance. There's no spores up at home.
Yeah, this might actually just be it, man. There's nothing here. They're just going to kill these Scourge as they spawn. He's going to try to make a spore here. No, it doesn't have Eva Chair. Never mind, can't even do that.
No.
Yeah, that's the end here.
Nope. This is
for last.
Now, we got a chance to see this in our second 2v2 of the entire tournament. I believe it was it wasn't Rain, it was Free, the Protoss player who was the sole survivor 1 versus 2. However, he was in a much better position, and this is still just a 1-base Protoss player in Rain.
And he has barely any units. He has nothing. I mean, he got a late Cyber Court because he went for the cannon push. He's going to have some cannons back at home to help defend. He's got 4 Dragoons, which don't even have range yet.
Oh, and there's Stim as well, already here for Light, who's pushing in with Ware to try to win the game.
He's going to try his best here. The Marine Stim over. Dragoons popping out of these gateways here. A few Lings joining the battle as well.
You do have to micro those Marines against the probes. That is actually something you will need to do. But it appears as if the probes are falling. And with that, the chances of Last and Rain being able to win. GG. That is going to do it. And Team Bez hangs on. Oh my god, sickest hold there, the 1 versus 2.
Light, yeah, 1v2'd the defense. Had the bunkers set up, knew exactly what he needed to do. Saw that photon cannon rush coming a mile away, pulled the SCVs just in time, got a second bunker up on the outside, then got eventually a third bunker up, and that was all it took. Really, really like this strategy. Both players understanding immediately in terms of spawn locations that they're both isolated. So, we were thinking potentially it was going to be the Zerg that was attacked first, but in fact, Light was under attack first. He was able to identify that, so the Zerg teched into Spire. He just went full turtle mode. And had they not attacked him, perhaps if they just played defensively and went more into econ or more into tech, maybe would have a totally different situation. The defense would have looked useless, would have wasted a lot of money on bunkers and things like that, but they knew the attack was coming, and he was able to, most impressively of all, defend 1v2 with good SCV pulls, good repairs, and good Marine control there at the end, getting those Marines into the bunker. And the hope is still alive. Light 1v2, and now he's going to have to 1v1 last.
And this could not come down to any sicker conclusion. If Team Best can bring it back, there's a chance for a reverse sweep coming up. There's a chance for that sick ace match, and it all rests on our 4th match of the night. It's Last versus Light, the ASL team battle.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
하면 뭐다? 너 냄새 난다고 베브리즈 맨으로 남자 5대 냄새 파괴 베브리즈 맨.
마음이 가는 대로 즐겁고 신나게 쓰자. 캠퍼스 시리즈.
예. 어이. 야, 어깨 좀 올라봐.
지키건 지키자.
겨울 가장 지키고 싶은 RPG 수호삼국지.
요즘 디지털 하도 그러니까 더 이상 새로울 게 없잖아요. 근데 이거는 좀 달라요. 알고리즘. 이거 참 재밌대.
디지털 현대카드.
여기가 어디게요? 뒤에 보시다시피 아프리카 TV 대치동 프리거 스튜디오입니다. 저희 보너스 베이비가 여기 왜 왔을까요? 네, 여기서 3주에 한 번씩 팬분들과 데이트를 지낼 예정인데요. 1년 동안 열심히 할 테니까 텅텅 비어있는 이곳을 여러분들께서 꽉꽉 채워주세요. 3월 8일 8시 수요일에 우리 만나요.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a packed-out crowd here in the Afrika Freak Up Studios in Samsung, Seoul, South Korea. Looks like we are going to be going to an interview with our players to see what their thoughts were for that 2v2. So asking where... So games seem kind of back and forth there. How do you feel now after that 2v2? He says, yeah, I lost my first map, but I was able to win
부족을 했기 때문에 그리고 재호 형이랑도 연습 많이 해서 무조건
in the 2v2.
그 포인트 중에 하나가 이재우 선수의 그 완벽한 탱킹.
So he says, yeah, in 2v2, Last actually played his off race. So it feels like that made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it would have definitely been a lot tougher for Light to defend, you know, if he wasn't a Terran player, right? That helped out.
Yeah. He says, yeah, my teammate Light is actually really, really good at defending. So they knew that if he could do that well, then they would win the game.
다른 팀들 안 무섭지 않습니까?
그렇죠.
팀플레이만큼은 최강이라 생각 좀 하시죠?
네, 그렇습니다.
예, 그러면은
So,
문제는 이제 알파고와
except
대결을 펼친다는 거예요.
Team Flash, do you think that your team is the best left in the ASL team battle?
진짜 잘 움직인다고 했거든요. 그리고 재호 형 자체가 태태전을 잘하는 선수.
He says, I really believe in Light.
It
says after he warms up, I believe he's really good. So I believe he can really show his best performance here. So once again, congratulations on your victory, and good luck in your next games. Well, here we go, Wolf. We are coming into our next game. It is the fourth game of the day, and it's going to be a TVT on Fighting Spirit.
That's right. This is going to be the map that could decide it all. Worst case scenario for Team Best. Last takes this one, and the problem with that is he's the favorite. Here he is. Look, this guy has some of the best Terran versus Terran in the world. He's 7-1 in ASL alone. In everything he's played, you know, in recent times, like post Caspa, he's got about a 70% win rate in the matchup with everything he's played against top players, online tournaments. Fish record's incredible. This guy is the TVT specialist, and his opponent just is, you know, he's average at TVT at best. Now, he did come off that win. He did get to play Terran and defend in the 2v2, so he's got that momentum on his side. But Last prepared only for one matchup. He didn't have to really think too much about the 2v2, I'd say. I think it was more focused on this one because he's so good at TVT. And all he has to do is do his job here, as Flash did earlier. He was the favorite. Rain got that win. And for Light, this is going to be a tough one, man. He's at about 40% in his last TVTs. He hasn't played a single TVT in ASL. And I'm worried about him here. He's going to have to play out of his mind. As Ware said earlier, he's warmed up now. And he has the opportunity to turn this one around, but it's not going to be easy. If he can pull it off, it would be a miracle, and we will go to an ace match here. A very rare occurrence in the ASL team battle. It could be Flash versus Best. That's what fans want to see, but this man on screen, Light, is going to have to make it happen in a tough TBT here.
Wow. All right. Well, it's all going to come down to this. The hopes and dreams of Team Best are on the line here tonight. They are all in Light's hands. Going up against Last, of course, TBT God himself. We'll get a chance to see if Last can really close it out here and give Team Flash their 3-1 victory. So let's go ahead and get into our 4th game of the night. It's Last versus Light on Fighting Spirit. It looks like Korean commentators have a little bit extra to say about this. I was coming in for a landing there on that intro. Turns out there was some turbulence, so we had to circle the airport a little bit.
That's all right. Looks like we're going to be starting it up in just a moment. Tell your friends to get in here, especially if they're Flash fans, because if Light can make this happen, he might be playing again versus Best, the matchup everyone wanted to see tonight. Light is going to have to win this TBT first. Crazier things have happened. Bigger upsets have occurred.
And it looks like we might be getting into the game at long last versus Light here in our 4th game of tonight's ASL team battle. There we go. All right, we have accepted the Allied Vision, and in the purple at the upper left-hand side of Fighting Spirit, this is Last, and his opponent in the orange, playing for Team Best, Light.
Here we go. Straight across on Fighting Spirit, one map to end it all here for Team Flash. Last is looking for that win, and for him it's business as usual. Just another Terran versus Terran to win. Bump his record up.
Yeah, really glad that we I did change up the order of the maps here for the round of 4. We could see the newer maps first. Personally, a big fan because we could see lots more games on Outsider. And I think those maps, those games on Outsider have actually been really fun. So excited to see more of that. For Fighting Spirit, this is, I think, along with maybe Destination, the most played map ever. Just ever. It's the almost the only map you can get a game in on the Fish servers out here. So just really, really. Well thought out, well thought through. Every player knows everything about every aspect of this map.
Talk to, you know, people used to play on Icy Cup that tell you there isn't any other map than this one. This one's like, I thought that was a Python map. And no, just this one.
I was actually a big fan of like Python, Destination. Those are classics, but nothing more fundamental here. And oh man, gonna get it started off a little bit more excitingly by placing his first barracks out in the middle of the map. Now, this is nothing crazy like BBS, so we're not going to be seeing too many barracks out there. But it looks like he placed this in the path that the worker auto paths to.
Yeah, he did just place it straight in the middle of the map at this, double gas, double mineral, crazy expansion location right in the middle of the map. And not only will this be scouted, but because there's no support here, it will be delayed as well. In fact, he's got to halt this SCV.
He's going to lose the SCV if he's not careful.
Yeah, 2 SCVs have to come down here.
Oh, he's going to lose it.
He's going to lose it. Oh, gets the one shot away. But 2 more SCVs will come down, and he will eventually finish this, but this is so delayed. It may as well have never happened at all. As back at home, you see the barracks will be up for Light. And he's still going to continue to harass. That's why you need 3, basically, 2 more. And he's going to actually just go ahead and expand. He's so confident against this. He's going to have his first Marine first, and he could probably get a bunker up too. So there's nothing really to be worried about anymore. And I like that Last is just simply going to add a geyser or a refinery and tech up.
This is so annoying. I mean, I thought probes were annoying, but that SCV is definitely getting its money's worth. That guy's clocked in for a 10-hour shift. He's not going home early. He's there to get the job done. So, I mean, the barracks is still in the middle of the map, but chances are the Marines from it will be rallied defensively, and eventually he'll either float it back. TVT does tend to be mech versus mech, so probably not going to make too much use of that aside
Yeah, I
from
mean, he just
scouting.
He just can't do this anymore, basically. So he forces a bunker here, which is, you know, a consolation prize. But, you know, it just didn't do anything for him. He's got a factory up. Also scouted with the lack of Marines here to deny that, because the only Marine he had out was made earlier, and that Marine's going to be able to eventually come over and clear this off. Here he comes. Oh!
And
he wants to get one SCV here. He's like, please, I just want to kill one. I've been working so hard.
He's like, I really want to try to be a murderer. No, that's actually just my job. Aren't Marines actually like conscripted convicts? If I remember my lore correctly.
Marines are, yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
SCVs are just, they didn't get their GAD, okay?
Well, isn't there something about like the people who pilot SCVs being like locked in their worker, you know, suit? So they're like forced to work, otherwise they never get let out? I think that's what the lore is. It's actually pretty dark when you think about it.
I'm not 100% sure about the SCVs. I know that, of course, Marines are ex-cons, Reapers and StarCraft 2 ex-cons, etc. The Firebats are like the really crazy ex-cons. But, yeah, I mean, the SCVs, I may be wrong on this, but I always thought they were just guys that, you know, just didn't really know what they wanted to do with their lives. Maybe they didn't really feel like going to college and just want to go on a space adventure and do some exploration.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the option, I was one of those you know, kids that like, you know, changed my major a million times when I went to college. If I had the option to go be an SCV, I definitely would have taken that. So.
You know, I did the next best thing, man. I just didn't finish school, and I came out here to be an esports commentator. So
I did it the opposite way. I just did like school, and then I was like, well, what am I going to do? Do school again, and then hit the StarCraft action. So
you were a bit delayed, but you're here now.
Yeah, it's true.
You did the right thing eventually.
It's not about where you came from; it's where you are. It's like that Mewtwo quote. Either way, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on. So thanks to a very much earlier. That's not good English. Light got a faster expansion. There we go. All right, we're doing it. Light got a faster expansion, so he's ahead economically. And even though the expansion is now up for last, it's a little bit behind. So now we get a chance to see what the next option for both players is, and it should proceed fairly standardly from now on.
I mean, there's no big surprises here. Last got a faster factory because he transitioned a little bit faster after he was scouted, got that gas up right away. Has a second factory coming up here, researching on his machine shop. He had vultures out first, but with the bunker that was there from earlier, then he still has that control. He's going to go into quick armories here to get the upgrades out early, which is also scouted, which is really unfortunate. Despite having vultures on across the map, he gets scouted again. And it's not the end of the world, but right now, Light knows everything that he's doing. He's got a great start here. And the vulture's just going to mine up the map a little bit, try to choke Light in a little bit. But the game is pretty even. We had a faster starport for Light, so he's going to open up with raids here, as you can see right now. It's going to give him a little bit more scouting and pressure, and I think he's looking to finish that barracks off that was scouting him earlier as well. Unfortunately, does not find it. Now he does.
Well, this is kind of weird. So as Terran, if you want to play just a straight-up standard match, then what you do is you just get lots of vultures, lots of tanks, and you just like slow push your way across the map. And because they're cross spawns at this point, that would be a very long, drawn-out game, as TVTs are wont to be. But now we're actually going to see a couple of different things. That Academy is coming down, not for STEM or any research, but just to allow ComSats to be built, so that you can get scouting information and stuff out there. But already it's going to be, okay, well, there's an interesting scan in the middle, not because he thought that Wraith would have had Cloak or anything, but just to get that scouting info out on the map.
Yeah, well, the Wraith will escape here, no problem. Now he's got a buddy. They're going to eventually knock this barracks away. The barracks was landed earlier because Wraiths do more damage to air units than they do to ground units, so he wanted to buy a little bit more time with that. That's okay. He gets one more factory up before the barracks goes down. That's a building requirement. There's several tanks across the map. Light has cut vultures out entirely, just going into air control first, and wants to have those beefier tanks. So, you know, he has a stronger army, I'd say, but he can't push across the map with it yet, as there were vultures, there still are, there are spider mines. Anything he does is going to get telegraphed. This is a nice SCV up here, going to spot these raids. Perhaps was looking to make a third CC. I doubt it, but will get picked off nonetheless. And this Goliath is here with that spot with the SCV. Will actually secure a kill.
God,
nicely
really?
done.
Okay, well, Goliaths are pretty good. Doesn't have the blue Charon booster upgrade. Is it Charon or Charon?
I think it's Charon.
Charon?
I think it's Charon, like Pluto's moon. Or is that? No, it's Sharon, I guess then, yeah.
Wait, is that really pronounced Sharon?
Yeah, I think Pluto's moon's pronounced Sharon.
Okay, well, I mean, it's Greek mythology, right? So I don't know how they pronounce it there. Somebody like tweet at us, let us know how to pronounce Charon boosters.
The thing about Greek mythology, man, it's all just a myth. Like, you can pronounce however you want.
that is in fact true. You know, I was reading the early day. Usually cast this with Artosis. He a Tastelesser at IEM right now. Artos is apparently the Greek god of bread. So, learning more things relating Greek mythology to StarCraft.
Yeah.
One step at a time. Still don't know how to pronounce the booster upgrade for Goliaths, but either way, Goliath's pretty good against Wraiths, who are basically just paper airplanes flying around. But an interesting start to the game here for Light.
So, important, when the dust settles, kind of snapshot we get to take here is he did want to take that third base. He did get it with the Goliath pickoffs there. He's also feeling a little bit more comfortable moving across the map with the Wraith pickoffs now. So, defensive setup here for Light. Light also seeing that SCV and going up to deny it, knows that the third's going up, so he gets his own a little bit faster here. So third bases for both players. And the more mobile army again for last, he has these vultures. And he actually committed to those, whereas Light just went for the tank line. He's going to actually try to break this from the right side potentially. Look at the spread here for Light though. I mean, he's got a long siege tank line that goes from both sides, from the left side to the right side, covering both areas of entry here. The Wraiths, or I keep saying Wraiths, sorry, Vultures, going to run by. Actually, they get right by that tank line. They're going to hit this third base really hard. That's the mobility I was talking about. These SCVs are toast.
Yeah, thankfully it's done building, so he's not going to be forcing cancels or anything crazy like that. But you can just see how good that run by was. It will get eventually shut down there, and the Comsat station can still continue being built. Does not need an SCV for that. So mostly just information and a couple of SCV kills there. This Wraith coming in here will not be very effective. Once again, mostly just for scouting. So both players will know what the other are up to. But like you said, this third base maybe just a fraction later. For Light.
Well, keep in mind too, one of the important factors is yes, he lost mining, but he never was able to build a refinery either. Last has his third refinery up, so he's mining more gas, which is super important in TVT where you're making just factory and starport units with the mech. Now this siege tank move out to the left side here, he's just going to know that his right side is almost unbreakable by tanks. He's going to try to siege up here and take more control of the left side of the map. This is going to be a split map TVT, which becomes all about vision. So Light is basically just saying, I don't care about vultures, I don't care about mobility or harass, I'm playing for the long game, I'm going to set up the Great Wall of Light here in the middle of the map, and I'm going to have air control with my Wraiths, so you're never going to be able to see my tanks anyways. You can see Last is starting to realize this is important, and is actually researching Cloak, but ooh, a big SCV rally mistake. He's not saying these to mine.
Yeah, half of it, you can't actually just auto, click your command center to send SCVs that it builds to the minerals. You do have to manually put those on, so that's pretty bad. And yeah, here comes up the setup, this Wall of Light. If you guys ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, you know how completely broken that card was.
Labyrinth Wall? Yeah, man.
No, Wall of Light.
A Wall of Light? I thought
it has attacking units in there. Look at all these SCVs, man. You guys are not getting paid for that. That entire mineral line is like my group project situation in college. It's like, well, half the people are just like, they showed up, but they're just like, well, I'm just here. You should be happy for that. I'm like, well, no, not really.
Yeah, at least you got people to show up, man. That wasn't always the case for me. Look, he's just trying to eventually choke him out. If you look at the angle for this, it's kind of favoring Light. But he's getting the Cloak upgrade for his Wraiths. He's hiding that he's actually building Wraiths, so that could actually surprise. Like, he has 2 Starport Wraith now, and I think he's up to 6, I believe, in total.
Now, the one Starport was actually scouted by Light, but he doesn't know about so many. He's also might have seen the Cloak researching, but I believe there's at least one science vessel out for Light. And he does have turrets around his tanks, so it's not complete impunity.
So he's not going to be able to, like, say, harass these tanks and pick them off with his Wraiths, but his Wraiths will help give him vision. He's going to eliminate this barracks as well. The Wraiths will give him vision so that he can eventually just siege push his way over there and force Light to constantly use Comsat sweeps as this barracks will finally go down. That's an important thing for Vision. So this is the split map I'm talking about. We got bases on both sides, and a little bit of a lead for Light actually going into this.
Yeah, so Light might have a slight lead right now, but okay, this is actually really interesting. And back in maybe the golden days of Brood War, you probably would not have seen this because you didn't really see Valkyries all that often. Valkyries are kind of like Liberators, if you guys know StarCraft 2. They deal area of effect splash damage by just shooting a ton of missiles out there, and it's great versus these clumped up cloaked wraiths.
Yeah. I did actually say Light ahead. I meant to say last in terms of base production. Like, he's got his entire side of the map set up much faster, whereas Light has those bases at the bottom left. Neither of them are really being used. There's a refinery set up. He's a bit slow to get mining production up, whereas Last is real set up already.
Yeah, so Last is actually still pumping wraiths right now, which is interesting given that they're most powerful when they are first revealed. They're supposed to be this big surprise thing that comes out, catches your opponent off guard, and catches them without anti-air or detection. But actually a couple of really good pickoffs for Last there. He's able to take down the science facility for Light, so that means it's going to delay any vessels if he wants to use that for detection, or also just like, the higher tech, you do need to have that building eventually built. And this is just a massive mech army complemented by wraiths, and here he goes.
He got scanned, though, before he moved in, so he didn't even have an air advantage here. So Light actually gets a few free shots off, but he does have that air advantage now. He does have that vision advantage.
Light just does not have as much stuff here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a problem, but at least he got some free volleys off with that comp scan. That was really well timed. As his tanks are sieged up. Obviously, the player who's sieged up defensively has a huge edge when they both have even vision, because the tanks are going to be firing during the siege animation. Now, here comes the Valkyries you were talking about. He's going to actually try to clear this up. Going to force the Wraiths to really split and retreat back to as many Goliaths as are available, because Valkyries can't shoot down, of course.
That is very true, but they do dominate the air. They also have one of the best attack animations in Brood War. By best, I mean worst, but it looks the coolest. So we'll see. I think it actually fires, like 12 missiles or something like that. It's pretty sick. So good scan there by Last. Does see where the Valkyries are, and he immediately pulls back his clump of wraiths, which you can see pretty mirrored on the opposite side of the map.
Really, really important that also the Valkyries are well controlled, because if you're kind of moving them around because they're very quick and Wraiths are cloaked and you don't have vision nearby, you can lose a Valkyrie too, because the Wraiths do so much anti-air damage as well. Not as AoE, but single target is very strong. So unfortunately, this refinery will not be usable currently, as he's going to, well, it's not in range currently, but he does have, he did kill the SCV building it. This is just going to become an air war. We've been talking about this already. Massive starports on both sides. Probably eventually going to see BCs, but for the time being, it's going to be about Wraiths and Valkyries. You can't just make Valkyries. Obviously, you make them when you're behind, and you transition back into Wraiths. Valkyries can't shoot downwards, of course, as I was saying before. They can give you vision for your tanks, but you want to make too many of them. You want to make them when you're behind, and then go into the Wraiths. The Wraiths can also cloak, which forces vision responses.
Pushing forward down there to that, I guess, what is that, 830 base on the left-hand side. Last does deny the gas there. That's actually kind of important. You can see double armories up there for Last as well, because if TVTs go late enough, then eventually you'll just get into massive battlecruiser wars, because Yamato cannon is super value. You get a lot of value out of that. It's free, it just costs energy, and it kills tanks in one shot.
I think he actually has 3 armories even. I think he has one at the top left as well.
Really?
So he can get, all these upgrades for his air, his ground.
Oh, bad rally point right there. Yikes.
Daisy.
Now, there's actually quite a few rays here for Light as well. So he might be able to use those to push up and take that down, but that is an actually insane number of rays right now for Last. He is actually, I would say over half of his army right now is nothing but rays. And whoa, there's actually a lot more that I did not see being made either. So these 2 massive wraith fleets are about to clash.
Exactly. No, for Light, he needs to make sure his Valkyries are with his Wraiths, because he has a huge deficit in Wraiths. He has to get that secondary fleet with his new wave of starports. But Last has always been leading the production in air. He made the transition first. That's why these Valkyries are here now. Fighting together against the Valkyries, you need to split your Wraiths. But if you're doing that, you're losing DPS. So,
oh my god.
This is actually a fight that either player could win, depending on how the battle goes and how the micro goes.
This is so sick. In case you guys are wondering why Brood War is so cool to watch, it's that even though this game has been out for I think 19 years now, you still see different games every time, different players using their different almost super heroic strengths. Is that a command center in the middle of the map?
Yeah, he's actually, I mean, he's gotten control of this area. Now, this is insanely valuable because you have tons of mineral patches here, 2 geysers to mine from as well for gas. So you can actually get to a point where you have so much control that you take this massive amount of money. Then you have a huge bank that you could use for the rest of the game. TBT is a war of attrition, and with the map split dead in half, this is the only neutral base. And if Last takes it, then he just gets an unsurmountable lead, essentially. Look, with this, he is already comfortable to add extra starports. He has a massive starport lead. He's always been ahead in this. You see a big cloak here with these Wraiths. Looks like he was thinking about committing to using them somewhere.
And both players actually with their entire Wraith fleets cloaked. The disadvantage there for Light is that because he does have Valkyries with his, they'll be better in the straight up one versus fight versus or team versus team battle. But he does not. Wraiths can't or Valkyries can't cloak, so they will give away his Wraith's positions.
There's so many turrets here, and there's so many comm stats available. The cloak factor is really a reaction speed one. If you are just simply paying attention, you immediately scan. It's not going to do too much for you in the battle, but if you're not paying attention or if you're looking at something else, well, there's some harass going on, maybe you can get value out of that.
Okay, and Light's actually sacking SCVs at this point, so he's trying to get up to just a massive army. He's going to sack the SCVs, allow his tanks to get in there, and actually the perfect play. Light sacks his SCVs, lets him take the tank hits, and kills off, I think, 3 tanks there for Last.
Yeah, really nicely done. Armories are churning right now. All right, ooh, don't want to be engaged into those turrets. Turrets do so much damage, even though they don't get upgrades. They're just powerful all game long against anything that flies. All right, so with the pickup on those tanks, he's actually encroaching in here to Last middle base, which isn't really mining that much yet. He's only got a few SCVs in there, and he's going to take his own command server here. That's real tanky, too. It's going to help keep vision for him. Maybe even bait some Wraiths in. If he can bait Wraiths in, then turn a fight on him. That would be one way he could take the engage and take back that air control.
And you're already seeing those armories kick in. 1-2 upgrades for Last, only 0-2 there for Light. And you do want to keep ahead of your opponents in offensive upgrades, because if you do have that 1 extra upgrade over your opponent's tanks, then they get 2-shot, which is really, really important.
Well, Last holds onto this base. The longer this goes on, the better it is for him. He's mining more money right now. He has that 1 base lead. Unfortunately, not very much gas anymore with this taken away, but he's getting some extra minerals. All right, here comes the Wraith fleet of Light. He's moving across the left side. Might try to get a pick off or force that air engage because he has more Valkyries in his mix, and maybe he's going to just try to take a hard engage. Okay, no, not confident enough to do so. The defender always has such a great advantage that it's tough to actually engage, especially in TVT, on the attack. And this is why Last is in such a great position, because he's already defensively set up in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and he does have that double base. You rarely actually ever even see that base be taken just because of how difficult it is to defend. And it looks like with this massive Wraith fleet, it's just going to be all about who picks the first engagement and then who comes out ahead in the big Wraith war. Because you can have infinity tanks, but if your opponent has 1 Wraith left over, they'll die as long as there aren't missile turrets or anything there.
I mean, theoretically, yes, you're absolutely correct. The player with the air control at the end of the day, too, will be able to eventually kill infinity tanks with their own. And money is not an issue for either player currently.
Ooh, 2-2 versus 1-1 in the Wraith upgrade. So that is actually going to be a really big advantage when it comes down to what could just be that big, battle to end all battles from the Wraiths in the air. Now they are able to push in just barely and start to tickle away at these tanks.
See, this is so risky, but if you're good at controlling like this and you just start to take the initiative, you can get a few tanks like this. You have to be very careful about how you do it, though. Scans go off here. He's actually going to start throwing away some of his SCVs as well because he wants the larger max out army. Because supplies do cap at 200.
Very interesting to see this game come down to just massive Wraith armies and no battle cruisers mixed in. Battle cruisers will die really quickly to raise because their DPS is comparatively slower. So they do if you're just going for winning an air battle, you want as many raids as possible. But if you want to go for that sort of death by 1,000 cuts victory, then you just want to Yamato your way to victory. So
you can have a mixture of units as well. You can have half raids and half battle cruisers, but there's not enough free supply for either player to really go down that path yet, but they are preparing. That's why Last is making a million bajillion starports. You guys saw at the top right. I mean, this looks like fastest possible map at this point with how much money he's been able to accrue. Not to mention the extra base he has, which is going to give him an even larger bank lead. Still hasn't been able to take the gas yet, but he's mining some extra minerals here. He will be able to take this first if nothing changes. It's not a massive lead for him yet because he could theoretically be mining from both gases, but he hasn't been able to get that yet. All right, look at all these control towers coming up. It's time for the BC transition very soon.
All right, this is really interesting to see from Light because he's always been the person, at least in this game, going for maybe a little bit more of the cerebral take on this. He scouted the early barracks in the middle of the map, so he's like, okay, I can get a faster expansion. And he's like, all right, well, what am I going to do to shake things up a little bit? Well, no vultures for me, just going for Rays. And then his opponent goes for this mass Rays, and he's like, okay, well, I'll mix it up a little bit and get these Valkyries out there. And now you're starting to see him be the first to innovate there in getting the battle cruisers. Not that that's a new innovation, but he's he's
taken the first step.
Right.
Yeah, and he took the big step to air first. That tank survives. With the physics lab, we saw it. He's absolutely ready to make that transition. He's obviously going to need to free up some supply before that can happen. And his battlecruiser supply depot, if you will, is going to be the top right. That's where he's going to manufacture them. There's no way for Light to go in there and scout that or take it out. But he can reasonably assume this is going to happen soon.
You might also see...
and by soon, I mean like maybe the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no really concept of soon in a TVT. Nothing really happens very quickly here. None of those starports actually pumping. Okay, now they are pumping for Light, but he's still just only making Wraiths.
And Light's just going to go pure Wraith. Last hasn't started battlecruiser production yet. He's still maxed out, so he can't actually go into that yet. He's going to actually start the trade here. That's what I'm talking about. Comsat scan coming down way late here. But look at the Valkyrie damage. He is just going to lose everything here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he was looking to take that fight there. Valkyrie damage, like you can just see right there. Valkyrie's also pretty tanky. They have 200 HP, not like the paper airplane Rays. So they tank a lot of hits, they deal a lot of damage, and that was a big win for Light.
But what Last wanted to do is he wanted to get rid of that max so he can actually make battle cruisers. And what he was hoping to do was have a late scan for Light so he can make it a really good trade. It was fairly late scan. But yeah, it's a massive win for Light in the short term. But if he can't make anything happen during this small window where the battle cruisers have insanely long build times, then Last is going to have that battle cruiser mixture. He didn't lose every Wraith. He just lost enough to where he can add some BCs in. And what can Light do in this window? We're going to find out. He's just pumping mass Wraiths. He's going to try to maybe hunt down the battlecruisers, camp the starports if he can get past the blockade in the middle of the map. And look, Last isn't just making BCs. He's making his own Wraiths too, which are helped protect by the turrets. Okay, he's just going to try to camp the starports. He's going to take this opportunity after that loss. This is a small window of time. Ihan timing, as they say, for him to come in here and take control. Goliath's on the ground here for Last as well. He's going to come up now. And Light actually chickens out. He doesn't commit. Just kills some turrets and backs off.
Well, the other thing is that Light can do this because Last has the inferior air army. While, yes, he is teching to battle cruisers eventually, I mean, even BCs in that situation still wouldn't have turned the tide because, like I said, BCs are like that. They just trade infinity efficiently because you can just keep getting energy over time and then you're motoing down these tanks. But I mean, a BC Wraith army loses to an all-Wraith army, especially if there are Valkyries involved.
The thing is, the BCs, just for how I'm looking at this game right now, the BCs are going to almost primarily be for killing missile turrets because eventually you got to kill those too, right? And those Wraiths aren't going to do it alone, so you got to kind of protect the small BC count you have with your Wraiths and eventually get through all these missile turrets. It's going to be a long process. I mean, this game, unless one player makes a huge decisive move or a big mistake, this game was going to go on for a lot longer time.
Well, the big difference might just come down to that middle base that Last has been mining from. Granted, he's only had maybe 2 or 3 SCVs there in the middle base, but hey, money is money, and here come those first battle cruisers out there. I did see them firing right off to the side of the screen, right off screen, but here comes in a massive cloaked Wraith engagement. Valkyrie's there in the back, but here comes our big fight to end all fights. Massive hits from all those Valkyries, and it looks like Last Rays might just not be good enough. Massive commitment here, but in the end, the better upgrades, 3-3, and Last Rays come out on top.
Without a single BC with this army, he does it. I don't know where his BCs went. Did he cancel them?
No, he only had like 3, and they all went down off screen up towards the top. I saw a few BC lasers fire across the screen. At least I think that's what it was. He might not have had any of those. Maybe.
Well, he definitely was making them for sure. He may have canceled them. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but
they might also have been Wraith lasers. But I'm pretty sure those were BCs. Either way, regardless, at this point, huge advantage for Last. You just see how effective having those better upgrades were. I think that was better upgrades because I know.
Well, like when you have that many rockets firing, every armor upgrade applies to each single rocket. So that's really huge. Also, he had a pretty nice arc. And now he's just going to take this advantage and try to push further. But look, this is what I'm talking about. He's not going to be killing turrets with Wraiths. They're going to be killing turrets with siege tanks or BCs. And so it's going to be a long, drawn-out battle. Now, Light still has a massive bank. Is it the same size as Light's, or excuse me, Last's? Probably not. It's probably a little bit smaller because he hasn't controlled the middle of the map as long. But he can rebuild these Wraiths. And just because this fight was won for Last doesn't mean this game is over. It's still going to go on for a long time because of the incredible difficulty to push forward and kill these turrets.
You're not going to be able to make that assimilator there. Sorry, man. That's just never going to happen. That STV is like trying. It's like, well, I thought I was building this. No, it is in range of those tanks. So, yeah, I hyped that last Wraith versus Wraith fight up a lot. But in the end, I feel like no single fight is going to win this game.
It's going to be a war of attrition, a slow and long, drawn-out one.
Well, that's where you're going to need to see these battle cruisers come in. Yeah. And while maybe there were some off-screen ones earlier on, maybe there just actually weren't any. But I mean, this is just insanity in Wraith numbers.
I'm not entirely sure. Actually, I can't remember off the top of my head how oversupply works because he might have finished Wraiths too quickly, so the battle cruisers were just kind of there, and then he decided to cancel them and make Wraiths afterwards because they couldn't pop out yet because it would have been oversupply. But he was definitely making them, and whether we saw them off or it was like part of our imagination, I don't see them anymore, and he's just committed back to the Wraiths, which helped him win that fight there where Light was trying to camp his starports when he knew he had the numbers advantage. And now finally, Light is going to be able to push up here, and it looks like with maybe 1 or 2 more siege ups, deny this middle mining base. He's even going to start pushing turrets here. Goliaths need to get out.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, moving forward, sieging up, a great, just methodical push there from Light, which will finally stop Last from mining at this base. That takes so much APM and attention to do. The siege, unsiege, just push little by little forward. A lot of patience required as well, and Light's got everything, so he finally stops this middle base from mining, and I believe he's maxed out on Rays again.
Yeah, I'm sure they both are at this point, but this is the key win here for Light, is recontrolling this base, or as controlled of it as he can be. He's nearly there. Now he's going to actually commit these Wraiths over to snipe this tank that was annoying him. Killed so fast. Okay. Ooh, Last is looking like he was looking to maybe counterattack here.
I think it's still 3-3 versus 3-2. Yeah, really big mistake here. Light has not gone for his 3rd armor upgrade. That's a big deal. Like you said, every single Wraith missile does get affected by these armor upgrades, and Light still hasn't gotten his.
The Valkyries, too, especially, with how many Valkyries were in that battle there for Light. Just kind of really nullified, not nullified, but nerfed, essentially. The damage was not as powerful as it was before.
Still no 3rd armor upgrade, just continuing to check on those, and even though
he's got it now, just barely, finally got it here. We're going to have a fight here. This is a way better angle for Last, though, and he's got Goliaths on the ground as well as turrets on the left side. This just feels like a wasted engage here for Light, almost suicidal. There's just no way this was ever going to work. I mean, somebody who's probably watching the game for the first time right now, I know there's somebody out there probably could have told you that was probably not going to work.
Well, I mean, that's where you just like look down at your fingers and you're just like, okay, more fingers beats less fingers. It's like, okay, well, yes. If you do have less Rays, also he was running into a concave situation.
He's remaxing with Wraiths again, so perhaps he's trying to take this this idea, because I mean, we're at this game where it's like everything gets real nebulous. There's no right or wrong answers here. So Light is at the place where perhaps he feels, okay, I'm going to start trading with him because I have this middle base now. Although he doesn't really fully have it. He has to clean this up and get that landed and take the refineries, which he hasn't been able to do yet. But that was a great moment for Last in terms of cost-efficient trades, which he needs while he's down this base. Although he mined a little bit of it earlier. And the base is, again, I keep saying he's down this base. It's not fully secured yet. He's nearly secured that base.
Wow.
And this is just a Wraith versus Wraith, festival or something.
Well, there should be battle cruisers. So you maybe you get one battle cruiser. Even that would be preferable to this because you get one BC, you can just still keep sniping away. Now it's a big investment. It's a lot of gas to get BC, Yamato Research. Maybe you even get the Corvid reactor. No, that's for Ravens. Never mind.
I think it's called Behemoth Reactor.
Behemoth Reactor, there we go.
But
Behemoth, I don't know.
The StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 upgrade names I think might be different because in StarCraft 1 the Yamato cannon is called Weapon Refit, and then in StarCraft 1
it's actually
I think it's called just Yamato cannon.
Or if you're casting with Artosis, it's called Yamato cannon. I'm just like, man, that's not. It's the letter's just not there. That's like those.
As long as no one's saying Malice Storm instead of Maelstrom to me, I'm okay.
Oh my god, that would tilt me so hard.
But look, the game we're at right now, if you have a few BCs in here, they could also tank if you have the right angle, a few Wraith shots so that you actually kind of the overkill goes off and then you end up with this incredible spread of extra damage. You get a whole extra chunk of damage in during that moment with the Wraiths overkilling the BC. But it's a big investment. It's risky. And, I mean, it's something that Last absolutely considered and he is prepared to do. Oh, man, he's just going to engage in here with the cloak, the big ball. And Light, I think, was just a little bit outnumbered there, so does just retreat. Gets a few Wraiths killed for free. His base is being long-distance mined.
I mean, that's not a bad opportunity. I mean, distance between SCVs and command centers only matters if it's about how fast you can get the minerals. And what really matters right now is that you're getting the minerals at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. Well said. He wants to kill this CC if he can, but it's not worth the hassle right now.
This is so weird to just watch a literal game of inches as these siege tanks are just moving closer and closer. Does he have 2 command centers up there? No, it's just 1.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. The minimap gets a little bit.
That's a really good decision to distance mine there because at least you're getting minerals from a place that your opponent is not.
Yeah. Your CC is safe, and it's exactly what you said. The rate at which he mines them is not relevant right now because he has so much money. He could probably remake every Wraith. If I pressed a button to make all the Wraiths disappear, he could remake them.
Well, you can't press a button to make them all disappear. It's called Cloak. But if they were just not there. See, at this point in the TVT,
blow them up,
anything's funny. All right, we're 35 minutes in to this glory that is Brood War TVT.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we have the timer at the top left. I was wondering how far we got.
Actually, I think Season 1 we didn't have a timer.
Gotcha.
But now we do.
Well, this SCV toss away here. Oh, he's actually just going to hard engage here with the Goliath support. And there's a turret here. Light should not take this engagement here. He needs to back off and take his own defensive advantage with the tanks. Now he's going to do just that. Last commits this time. The Goliaths overextend into the siege tanks. And boy, is this messy. This is not the cleanest TVT we've ever seen.
No, it is certainly not. But great move there by Light to say, okay, I'm going to start this off with still an okay trade because all of his rays were firing when Lasts were sent in multiple control groups, multiple waves, multiple wings. But then to just pull back and say, hey, Last, you want to keep fighting me? You can do it, but it's going to be on my terms. And you have those Goliaths on the ground. Last Goliaths were getting hit by the siege tanks that were up there. So you can see, like, while rays are really sort of the unit that you want to go for, it is about who has the more diverse army because you saw Light there having siege tanks to hit the enemy Goliaths, having more turrets on the ground.
It's all about positioning, right? Turrets and siege tanks can't move, and so it's like Wraiths beat Wraiths, like Wraiths counter Wraiths, but tanks counter Goliaths and Goliaths counter Wraiths. So you have this weird triangle where you if you're fighting with the Wraiths on top of turrets. And Goliaths is bad, but the Goliaths can't be on top of the siege tanks, or they just evaporate.
And this game is completely nutty. Like, I mean, this is like the chunky peanut butter. It's got all these like little subtle nuances in there. At the end, it's just a sweet, creamy game of Brood War.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a trail mix, really, with the compositions at this point. We've got all kinds of nuts. You got the tanks, the Wraiths, and the Goliaths in there. You got SCVs for repair, and the occasional turret.
I think that SCV was actually building a turret right next. It looked like he was repairing. And to be honest, like, okay, just shaving off little by little. A couple of those raids are actually very low health. At this point, it might actually even be worth it to just, like, sack the Wraith, build another one.
Yeah, I don't even know if the repair cost would be worth it at the end of the day, funny as it is. if you can take stock of which Wraiths are damaged and like maybe cordon them off into an area and like set up a repair area there and queue up some SCVs to repair, that could work. Okay, here come the BCs finally.
Here we go! 5 battle cruisers out for last, and they have not been revealed. He also has a science vessel, so he doesn't have the scan.
Yeah. Also, the EMP can stop the Wraiths from cloaking, and also can later on then knock the battle cruisers away from their Yamato cannons. So there's multi-purposes for the science vessel, not to mention defense matrix, but that's another story for another time. As that's not going to be the one that we're probably going to see used here. Now he wants to, it looks like, hide these and show them later. So it makes it look like he's just continuing Wraith production for the time being.
Well, I mean, we've seen nothing but Wraith on Wraith battles, so finally it's going to be mixed up a little bit. Yeah. Vastly inferior Wraith numbers for last. But he does have those BCs, so we'll see if he's able to play this game slowly enough to really use it. Yeah, all upgrades done in the game, at least, weapon armor.
Oh, okay. Look at this. This is huge. He's actually lowering the Wraith count.
Well, that's just that micro. You're going to get little tiny advantages if you are just faster and willing to, out-micro your opponent.
He wants this vessel, but I don't think he's going to get it.
He could suicide for it. I mean,
hard to click on it, actually.
Okay, he does get it. All right.
So, okay, here comes the time where he's got, what, let me count these. I think he's got 10 battle cruisers in total here, if I'm not miscounting. And you can just break through this tank line, which then empowers his Goliaths. The Goliaths can then fight the Wraiths when there's no tanks nearby. That's one way you can approach this. He's got a few Goliaths on the ground to the right side. If he smashes through this turret line and the tank line, Goliaths come protect his Wraiths and his BCs, and he just pushes around the right side. Okay, here we go. He's going to commit here.
He's going to get a nice engagement off to the side and force Light back. So many battle cruisers out there. I think he probably just has like maybe 1.5, 2 control groups full of those. But most importantly, Light just does not have anything near that. He's not going to be able to make this up with Valkyries. He's just going to have to go all in and commit to this. Those battle cruisers will win eventually in a long, drawn-out fight. And there you can see those Yamatos.
Just trading energy for money. Okay, he's going to actually hard commit onto this now. This could be the fight that decides the game here. There's just so much DPS coming out of these BCs anyways. The Wraith support here as well. And it's just not enough. The Wraiths, as well as they're upgraded, the battle cruisers have that massive amount of armor and plating here too. And it feels like this war of attrition will finally go into Last's favor if this continues. There was nothing positive about the exchange there for Light. You can't really say anything about that. He has a slight lead in Bank because of the extra mining he's been doing in the middle of the map, but it's not significant enough to be throwing these units away. The battle cruisers could just be repaired. They're very powerful, and he's not losing any money off of it.
You know what I want to see, Wolf? It's a covert ops facility.
You want to see some nukes?
I was thinking about nukes. There's this one Pimpest play from way back in the day where lockdown was used very effectively to just lock out all of these battle cruisers, because this is what's going to happen. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and actually might be able to get in there and just snipe off one battle cruiser. No, it survives.
You have to get the kills. If you don't get the kills, it doesn't matter what you're trading. Repair, which is more efficient than making battle cruisers in general cost-wise. For your Wraiths, and even though he has a slight lead in Econ, he's still kind of long-distance mining this base, which Last is not. He has to get the kills. If you don't get the finishing blow, nothing that you just traded for it matters. So that's why he actually even turned around there to commit once more to get it, as you saw Last desperately trying to get the SCBs over to repair.
I mean, every little tiny bit does count. You can see how many missile turrets are used just to ensure that bases can be mined. Now, it should be noted that long-distance mining is still occurring here for Light. He will be able to outlast in a game of who has the most resources. Light wins, but it might not even come down to that when you think about how much value these battle cruisers can be able to eke out.
Yeah. Looking at the map, too, you can see there's very few mineral patches left on the edge of the map, on the outer rim, if you will, as the middle of the map's the only place there's still real mining going on. That's why he's trying to make these trades. But eventually, if he can't kill these units and he keeps trading small amounts of battlecruiser health for full health Wraiths and full cost Wraiths, then even if he has all the money that's left on the map, if he can't ever kill the BCs, it won't matter.
So these battle cruisers, yeah, like you said, oh my God, just there's nothing you can do about that. This is where you raise your fist in the air and you're like, but my counterplay. It's like, how do you deal with that? Well, you don't. You either have more BCs or you just have to like, get in there, fight the fight, and win it. And right now, that's not something Light can do.
It's too risky for him to try to make his own BCs with what money he has left, because if that gets scouted, then he just gets ran over while he's trying to make the transition. So he's never really going to be able to make BCs, period, in this game. And how can he ever kill these BCs or ever kill the turrets? Even if he has unlimited money, eventually you run out. He has unlimited money now, but how long is that going to last? Tank's going to get wiped off here. He's going to try to commit now to pick these up. Immediately, Defense Matrix actually gets used. That was a sick play there.
Sickest D-Matrix there. Defense Matrix just gives you a flat HP shield. I think it's 150 HP. Just on your unit, so if one thing is getting shot at, you just tank it up with the D-Matrix. It doesn't die, your opponent overcommits, and then you win, which is much like what we saw happen there. So lots of Goliaths on the ground, because I think Last recognizes here, okay, I'm just not going to be able to win this air battle. And one thing I did want to mention earlier, even though maybe more resources mined here for Light, he's only getting minerals out of this, so he does not have the massive gas that he needs to be able to support this huge BC army.
True. I want to point out as well, just on the emotional side of things in this, I just saw a few times Light kind of shake his head. He'd take his hands off the keyboard for a second. He knows that theoretically this is his game that he's going to lose eventually. Look at that, Defense Matrix again, perfectly targeted here.
Target it on the right battle cruiser. You have to hit not only the right BC, but also the right control group, and then see which one's starting to take damage, and instantaneously, D-Matrix it. Just absolutely insane to see this level of control.
I'm just trying to figure out if they're, assuming Last continues to play this defensive style, if there's ever a way that Light can ever even win. Like, is there even anything he can do here? I just don't think so. I mean, I almost feel like this is already checkmate. He's going to try to do one last engage here, it looks like. And that Vessel going to look for some D-Matrixes. Might have gotten picked off already. No, it's down there below these BCs. Here's the hard engage. There's tanks to protect against the Goliaths here.
Lots of Goliaths, though, getting off really good angles, and most, if not all, of these raids going down. That was actually a really good fight for Light, who uses that higher Goliath count on the ground to come out on top.
Really important. This is the fight he needed. This was the cost efficiency he needed. He killed several raids, got a few BCs as well. This is the kind of efficiency he's going to need.
Well, that's the kind of efficiency he's fighting against there.
Yeah.
Huge value from all of these Yamato cannons. And I feel like if you just look at the expression of both of our players, Last, very focused, very calm, cool, and collected, keeping it 300. His opponent, Light, really just seeming exhausted at this point.
Yeah, but as their observer just highlighted, I think Last is out of money. He's not using all of his starports.
Wow.
And he just,
whoa.
Light just types out here. He just gives up. There you have it, I guess.
All right.
I mean, this is a game that he could have eventually potentially won, but he was very low on money himself. Couldn't break that. Got a good trade. Didn't have more. We don't know how many resources he had left.
That's very true.
But
I mean, if you just look at the total score at the end, I know that's not shown on the screen, but there was it was 440,000 to 460,000, so very, very close in the amount of resources mined. And in fact, Light did mine more resources that game.
Yeah, about 10,000 more, it looks like. So that's a lot of extra resources he had there, and I suppose this is not necessarily a lost game, but he was definitely unable to do anything further than what he was able to accomplish. He was low enough on money to where he was never going to be able to make BCs.
I mean, games are very emotional, guys, so it's not only just about how fast you can click, how many units you can build, how well you can control your army. You got to be able to hang in for the long haul. That was a 45-minute game. Cross positions on one of the biggest maps that we have here in the map pool for the ASL team battle. And I mean, fighting spirit really is all what it came down to, and Last had more of it.
Last had, we could talk about how potentially Light could have won the game, maybe, but Last won this game off of making the aggressive move, the decisive move first. He was the first to transition back into mass raid. He was the first to set up the infrastructure for the battlecruisers. He was also the first to take control of the middle of the map, even though he lost it there in the end. And that commitment to the battlecruisers faster was really what won him the game, that won him the war of attrition, trading that energy for money at the end of the day. And His TBT win rate continues to go up.
You can see he knew exactly how to handle that. You can see both of our teams on stage. Some nice handshakes, but in the end, it is Team Young-ho, Team Flash, that does come out on top. So now they'll be heading over to our interview area. We'll get a chance to hear some of their thoughts. And of course, an absolutely packed out crowd. This is one of the first nights that we've had to bring in maybe a row of extra chairs for more people in the audience. And this is the reason why our matchups for today.
You end up with a 3-1 win here for Team Flash. But when you got players like Flash, Rain, Best, Light, Last, all famous players, you got a big night of matches tonight. So no surprise you got a lot of players here. The expected result, I'd say here, you know, Best, really, I feel like he needed to win that PvP for them to force the ace match. He couldn't do it. And Light put up a great fight in the TBT. It was a much closer game than I expected. He had that early scout and played really well. But that's all she wrote. We're going to have an interview here with Team Flash, our winners for the evening.
All right, so what are your thoughts after finishing these games tonight?
원래 컨셉대로 된 것 같아서 뿌듯하고요.
So Flash is saying, yeah. So my concept for tonight's matches was just to only focus and try to win. He says, well, since we made it to the winners matches, we're going to concentrate on those matches as well. Like, okay, well, yes, thank you. Thank you for telling us you're going to try hard. He says, so I was expecting to have a big macro TBT in our final game, because both of those players are very. It's very typical for them to have very long games.
하나에서 두 가지밖에는 없어요. 그러면 오늘 김성현 선수에게 마이크 한번. 김성현 선수 오늘 이 장기전 끝에.
So let's hear from Last and get his thoughts on what that last game was like. So you had a long match that you did wind up winning. So what were your thoughts on that match? He says, well, I kind of expected that the map was going to be split in half there towards the end. But I could see that that Last was really just committing to just use nothing but raids. So he was like, well, if I can switch over to BCs, I might have that advantage. He says, personally, TBT matches actually feel very comfortable for me when it comes to practicing or to tournaments. He's always known as a TBT master. So Last saying, yeah, he says he hopes that he is able to have speedy and fast matches in the future.
다시는 팀플 안 나갈게요. 왜요? 야, 이렇게 되면은 팀플 나올 사람이 없는데.
I think I better not play 2-on-2.
이영호 선수, 김성현 선수 팀플 안 나가면 이제 이영호가 다른 종족으로 나가야 되는 거 아니에요?
다음에 둘이 나오는 게 어떨까요?
아니, 우리 팀은 뭐
He says, well, if you don't want to play 2v2, Flash already says he's no way he's playing 2v2.
물론 장난이고요.
He says actually none of our teammates want to play 2-on-2. So I think he wants to decide who plays the 2v2s via Guy by Vo or rock paper scissors, because none of the team actually like playing the 2v2. I think Flash's team has actually lost every 2v2 match that they've played. So a lot of people saying that your mind games were actually very creative today, Rain. He says, yeah, I actually thought that was a pretty neat victory. He says, I'm pretty proud that I can show my my skill, in my performance. So what's your answer for 2-on-2, since it seems to be a big difficulty for your team? He says, yeah, maybe we can lose our 2v2, but just win all of our solo matches, so we'll be able to win the matches. So we can win 3 matches out of 4, or 4 matches out of, or 3 matches out of 5. So let's hear what the team captain Flash has to say about his team's performance.
최종 결승이니까 승자전 결승이니까 승자전 결승이니까.
So the next match
일단
is
최선을
the
다해서
winners
이길
group
거고요.
match, and it's going to be against the
네,
winner of team. He says we're going to win the next match as well, and we're going to try to win not only just the next match and the winners match, but also the finals to come out on top. And I think it has to be said, Wolf, that Team Flash are definitely favorites in this tournament.
Absolutely. They're not in the finals yet. They will have to win against the winner of tomorrow's best of 5, of course, here at the ASL team battle. And that's going on tomorrow, 1 hour later than today, starting at 8 p.m., not 7 p.m., but we'll be back here again. And that winner will go up against Team Flash to, next weekend. And I mean, I think Flash's team just looks real strong if they could just tighten up that 2v2.
Well, yeah, as long as I mean, that's a big weakness when you think about it. That's why I really like that 2v2 is in there, because if you have a team that maybe has more team synergy, then maybe you just get a free win versus Team Flash, which is not something, you know, that most team formats would have afforded you. So, I mean, Flash is saying, well, maybe we just stack the 2v2 and just win our individual matches. Well, what happens when you lose the 2v2 and then maybe you lose an individual match and then it comes up to the ace match and maybe Flash gets like goes up against a player that is prepared like a counter build?
Could have happened today if Best had won that PvP. I mean, the exact scenario you just described was, you know, fairly likely. But Rain beat Best there, his old teammate, in the PvP, so it didn't come to pass. But we got to see a really fun TVT there. Perhaps a slightly anticlimactic ending, but I feel like there was a lot to learn about playing TVT on that big map with a lot of aces.
Yeah, that's where, you know, our macro strategist, everybody that's the moderator on the Team Liquid strategy forums, just like watches that game. It's like, this is the pinnacle of Brood War. But it was really cool to watch. And that is going to set us up for tomorrow's games. If you guys are big fans of players like Bisu, he will be playing his team. Kim Taekyong, that's the team on the right-hand side, and they'll be going up against Team. What is that? Kim Sung Hyun,
which is Mong, of course.
Yeah, I am Mong.
And,
okay.
Well, I am Mong if you want to call him his new name, but this is going to be an exciting one. So Tyson stepped up, beat Brittany last week. Mong definitely going to be a tougher opponent, but at least he's got the same matchup to face here on Blue Storm. The highlight match for this one, I think, is definitely the second one with Sulky and Bisu.
So.
And then, of course, the TVT between Sok and Oregon. Sok played a great TVT last week, and we'll see if he can do the same here against Oregon. So I'm excited for both the second and fourth matches for tomorrow especially.
Yeah, and Sulky kind of in the same shoes as Rain, that guy that went over to play StarCraft 2, excelled, and is now back to showcase his Brood War talent. So we'll get a chance to watch Team I Am Mong, or Team Gwemchi, take on Team Bisu in the match 2 of our round of 4. It's going to be very exciting. We hope to see you guys there. It's at 8 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Also, if your lust for StarCraft has not been quenched just yet, this has been StarCraft 1, but going on right now are the final stages of the IEM Katowice Global Championships. So if you're wondering where Tasteless and Artosis are, they are over there. So make sure to go check out IEM after today's broadcast, and of course after tomorrow's broadcast as well, if you want to get your StarCraft 2 fix going on there as well. So we've had some great games here, hope for great games there, and of course great games coming back tomorrow. So we get into our second round of 4 match between Team Bisu and Team Gwemchi.
That's right, Rapid. It's been a great night of StarCraft 1. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. KST. Don't miss it.